Yes, everyone, you know what time it is. It's your boy Jack here at the Irish Hotspur, delivering you that fan show. So much to talk about. Give us your reactions to Timo Werner signing just seconds ago, minutes ago, I believe. Spurs have just given all the media coverage. They're releasing all the nice little, photos, all the videos, all the, flexing of the badge, all that good stuff. So Timo signs tonight here, everybody. He's going to be part of Tottenham Hotspur. He's going to be part of Ange Postecoglou's project. Looking forward to it. I'm going to give my thoughts on it in just a second. I also have a video that is coming out tomorrow for everybody. It's also available, I think, early for everybody who does have a membership. So please feel free to check that out. But everybody, come on, have your say. Talk about Timo Werner. Talk about whether you're nervous, whether you're excited about this signing. Of course, a lot of different feelings towards it. Ex-Chelsea man, somebody who I think was sort of kind of famous, or maybe infamous is the right word, for missing a lot of sitters and missing a lot of chances with Chelsea. But in the Bundesliga, absolutely buried them for fun, really, for a lot of seasons in a row. He's actually one of the, cast your minds back, one of the top strikers really in Europe. I think more than a few years ago. So something to think about. Will he be able to turn things around and maybe kickstart, his career again over at Tottenham Hotspur? We also have Dragusin, which has just been going on and just really delaying in so many different ways here. The Dragusin one is just a funny one. I feel like a lot of it has to do sort of with that agent of his. He seems to have a big mouth, as well as just seems to be sort of cooking a lot of different deals at once with different clubs. He doesn't seem to care where his client goes or what his client wants. He just wants maybe the best possible deal for maybe Genoa, and also kind of in turn him, because I think a lot of the agents, they do get a cut, right, of a part of the deal as well. So I think he's definitely throwing his client, Mr. Dragusin, around everywhere. So it seems to be delaying things. Also, Jet Spence seems to be thrown into the sort of the deal in some way. I imagine that could be delaying things. Does Jet Spence even want to go to Genoa? He has to also sign the deal and be compliant in this whole situation. So that could also play a huge part of it in the Jet Spence situation too. Brian Hill, it looks like, might be leaving. Maybe with Timo Werner coming in, that could mean then that Brian Hill's out of here. So something to think about there. You also have as well, I think, of course, maybe other players leaving that might be out this January window. You have Eric Dyer, who I think has been, kind of linked and, pretty much looked like was headed on his way to Bayern. But maybe Bayern, with this whole Dragusin situation, might actually be making us keep Eric Dyer and stealing our own transfer target, which really make us hate them even more, I think, after the whole Harry Kane saga and everything, and watching that drag on. If they were to then take Dragusin from us, I think we'd really start to develop a bit of a transfer rivalry with them. Højbjerg, right? I feel like he could still leave. There's still some, I think it was kind of obvious, throughout this sort of year so far, that Højbjerg was kind of intent on leaving. You have Skippy as well, who I think was connected to a loan move away, but it looks like I think he supposedly wants to, I think, still challenge for a spot at Spurs. So I guess that's something we just sort of have to deal with, I think, to a degree. But Skip, right, could still maybe potentially be loaned out or something if Postecoglou doesn't fancy him. You have, I think, some other players in sort of the academy that are being moved out. I think Matthew Craig got to move. You have Josh Keeley got to move. Jamie Donnelly's been linked to moves away. Ashley Phillips, of course, just left as well to, I think, Plymouth, right? Plymouth Argyle. So there's a lot of players that are also leaving. So give me your thoughts on that. If any of those are big losses, or just maybe if you have a certain club in mind, for them to either develop or get as far away from Spurs as possible. FA Cup, Man City, there's that as well. We just got drawn with them. I'm actually not as nervous as maybe others might be, mostly because I think Man City have found it very tough against Spurs, especially away from home. But even in general, I think even when we go to their place, we still give them a good old scare. Even when we don't have all of our best weapons available, we still like to give them a good game. So I actually think this could be probably more of their cup final than even if they were to make it to the FA Cup final. They're probably going to be more nervous ahead of this game than even if they were to make it as far as the FA Cup final. So give me your thoughts on being drawn with Man City. I know there are only 2 competitions that we're left in too, right? So it doesn't really, excite us a lot that we haven't been, given an easier team. But Spurs, like I said, we always seem to find a way against Man City. And then also Man United preview. Give me your thoughts ahead of this Man United game. Are you scared of Man United? I think we're still going to be missing some players. Could it still be Emerson and Ben Davies again at center back? I mean, we've had to really get away with it for as long as we can. And they're doing the best job those two possibly can. No shame on them. But give me your thoughts on that, Man United preview, as well as so many things to talk about ahead of this fan show. So please, everybody, do come on, have your say. There's already a healthy queue back there. No Dave tonight, unfortunately. He's taking care of the misses, but still get to have a good chat with me and get to talk about maybe your nerves, anxieties around Timo Werner, maybe frustrations with the club and Daniel Levy when it comes to his sort of, kind of dragging on in the deal. Personally, I think it's more having to do with the agent and maybe the way that Spurs have sort of initially structured the deal. And now all of a sudden, I think Genoa could be holding out for something better. And it's just, really making things, I think, more complicated than it needs to be. But I don't think it's entirely maybe in Levy's case in this situation. It does seem to be a lot with the agent and then some other things kind of going on as well. But everybody, come on, disagree with me. Feel free to have your say. And just going to get to the comments here quickly and see what people are up to, see what people are doing. Smash that like button for us as well. Feel free to grab a membership to support the channel as well, everybody. But let's see what people have to say. Fifth Elemento's in the house. Good to see you. Terry Betts, good to see you as always. Good evening, David and Jack. Manchester City, no problem. Sue Smith says, looks like Bayern have scuppered the Dragusin deal. They're definitely trying to put their nose in here, and I'm not liking it, Sue. KPV, good to see you. We'll be speaking to him later. Ethan, Spurs fans, we're getting started as soon as possible, but we always try to, get in, on time, but it's not always realistic. Neil George says, good evening, gentlemen, and come on, you Spurs. Big up, Neil. Davey Hall's in here. Always good to see you, David said. Good evening, and all. Come on, you Spurs. All this messing about, we will lose on the defender, and Ange we trust, though, of course. Big up to you, Davey Hall. And we've been kind of messing around with this Dragusin deal more than I would like. I did say, I hope we get a defender in before the 10th. So that I don't completely lose my mind. It looks like, we've been practically near the edge. We've been practically ready to sign him this whole time. It just hasn't happened. It's been very weird. Like from pretty much the, New Year's Eve, we found out about, I felt like the Dragusin deal, and it's still been dragging on. So it's been very frustrating, but I have confidence that Spurs will get it over. And Ricky Nato says, big up brothers and all my Spurs family. Werner might suit Ange's system. Levy needs to back Ange. Come on, you Spurs. I think supposedly the Werner signing was one that Ange pretty much approved of and was one that Ange vouched for. So I know a lot of us have that sort of, not saying it's cliche, but, we all have that sort of typical line saying back the manager, whatever he wants, goes with me. And I think that's sort of the situation here, I think, when it comes to Timo Werner. So let me know, everybody. Good to see Scotty Heinem. Really appreciate your support as a member, as well as the regular. Big up, everyone. Timo time, and indeed Timo Zeit. Sean Maddox, big up, everyone. Time to wrap these transfers up ahead of the United game, indeed, Sean, and we'll be speaking to him later. Zara Ace, big up David and Jackie, big up to you, Zara. Marky News in the house, big up Dave and Jack. What's the latest on Dragon and Timo Werner? Conflicting views on Werner after his poor Chelsea form. Is he a club signing or an Ange signing? And has the Dragon got over the line? Dragon not over the line yet, Mark, but Werner, like I said earlier, I do think this is actually an Ange signing more than it is a club signing. I believe it makes sense that he might be sort of keen on a player like him. I think there's a lot of sort of attributes of his that Ange might like. And I think that's what we've been told through various sources, that this is one that Ange really gave the green light to. So I think this is an Ange signing. Big up to Ashley. Hopefully you are keeping well. Dragusin fumbled. I hope not. Really hope not. Jason Bell says, big up everyone. I don't have high expectations for Werner, and I expect we'll lose out on Dragusin. Jason, sorry to hear that. Looks like that's an for you, on both situations. It's Werner, yeah, you're not too excited about, and then also you're not hopeful that Spurs are going to get this over the line with Dragusin. Sorry to hear that, Jason, but, I don't really blame you. What's sort of the history around Spurs, and I'm not sure how many Chelsea players we've really bought of the past. It's not too often that we go there. We love their managers, but not as much their players. From the looks of things, I think we love to bring over sort of the managers more so than the players. But maybe when it comes to Dragusin, I hope we get it over the line, because it's the one that we've been looking at this whole time for it feels like nearly 10 days. So if we don't get it over the line, it would be embarrassing. Big up to you, though. We have Luke as well in the house. Big up to you. He thinks that Dragusin's going to Bayern. Brad Matthews is in the house as well. We'll be speaking to him later. Big up to Andrew Seymour saying typical Spurs, desperate for a center back since summer, and we have and we were told all January it's center back priority. Oh, look, we have a proven Premier League dud of a winger instead. Yeah, it is typical Spurs actually to sign still someone else before the priority signing. I think we love to do that, despite us being linked with the center back before we were linked with Werner. It was sort of typical Spurs to then actually sign somebody like Werner before the most needed one. Big up to you, though, Andrew. And also Adrian Brown, good to see you. We also have Gene D in the house. Good to see you, Gene D. Always appreciate your support. Clement's in here. Good to see you, Clement. Gamer16 is in here as well, saying still positive about Radu. Money close. He played at Juve with some of our players. He speaks English, would be a starter or close to with us. Fourth best in Munich. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think he gets too many minutes at Bayern Munich. I also feel like this is a young and exciting Tottenham Hotspur. Why wouldn't he want to come to this team where Bayern are FC Hollywood, a lot of drama, a lot of sort of kind of managers in, managers out type of situation. I think it always ends up being maybe not the most desired, place for maybe younger type talent, unless I guess you think you're ready. It is a very glamorous club, don't get me wrong, but is that really what Dragusin wants right now, in his career? Maybe not. And also, I think maybe the way that we play, perhaps the sort of style of football could also be a very alluring factor to him as well. So I don't know. I don't think it's exactly the case that Bayern are going to be totally, maybe for a player like him, the better option. They're definitely an option that can, really catch your eye for sure. And it's always a very, big compliment to be linked with them. But, is that the right move for him? Hopefully he thinks maybe more for his career than he does for anything else. Big up Hotspur, big up Donavision. Good to see you, Donavision. Werner, 12 goals and 4 assists. Is that going to be with Tottenham Hotspur, Donavision? Is he going to kick off firing? There's a hilarious podcaster who believes that Werner always was going to score buckets of goals while at Chelsea. Maybe it will happen at Spurs instead. Donavision. Big up Lee the Yid. Hopefully you're all right. Big up Paul Ince is in here as well. Neil George, Shane Mitchell, We're a Sly. Really do appreciate your support as a member. We're a Sly. King Hoddle. Good to see you, King Hoddle. Good evening, Wacko Jacko. Always Wacko. And we're good to looking forward to this fan show, King Hoddle. Hopefully you're keeping well. And Rick C's in here. Good to see Rick C. Hopefully you're doing okay. Saying, get in, Werner. People need to stop whining about Dragusin. No one even knew him 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I get that, Rick. I sometimes do laugh at that, sort of why we get so obsessed with the sort of one player. But I think what the reason maybe to be upset is perhaps because Spurs, this is the priority signing. And if they don't get it in before the 10th, I do think it is a bit ridiculous. And the fact that they have signed someone else even before it is a bit ridiculous. I mean, Dragusin maybe isn't even everybody's first choice or ideal choice, but we do need to get a center back in sooner rather than later. But I do agree with your point, though, Rick C. Big up to you, and hopefully you are keeping well. Jazzy Fusion, always good to see you. Lloyd Kelly looks better and better. Yeah, and I think he's now starting to get more minutes once again. And good to see you, Video. And I think that's about it. I think we're going to bring in the first guest up this evening. THFC Till I Die is also going to be our first guest this evening. So let's welcome him in. The Prophetron, the Dermatron is going to give us all his opinions on the various transfers and what it could mean for the future. He loves to look into the future and see, how it might end up for Tottenham Hotspur. But if you could do me a favor here, everybody, smash that like button. Do get your comments in. And feel free to support the channel by becoming a member. And there's still, a decent queue, but you can come on, have your say. I'll stay as long as you guys need me to. Hopefully you enjoyed the new background. Just wanting to be in maybe a more of a quieter place than kind of where the desk is, because it's been an especially loud day in Brooklyn today. And it's kind of nice little vibes over here in the living room. But we're going to bring on the guest. Enough waffling from me. Let's get on to Dermatron from THFC Till I Die. See what he has to say. Hey there, Dermot.
Hi, Jack. Happy New Year to you and everyone in the chat as well. Hope you had a good Christmas and a good New Year.
Yeah, having a good New Year so far. Getting kicked off in the right sort of way. Already was doing my Richie runs, right? But now I'm seeing so many people, right, with their New Year's resolutions. A lot more people on a running paths, these days and everything. But not as many Richarlison jerseys as I would have liked. Feel like that's what motivates people to get the Richie jersey on. You'll want to go on a big run.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going over on the 10th, and I don't know if I will get Johnson. If Richarlison's still there and he still impressed me, I may get Richarlison on the back of my shirt. So you will know in the first fan show after I come back from Spurs which name I got on the back of the shirt. Right, very quickly on the Radu deal. I'm hearing I've been told Jed Spence is on his way to Italy tonight for a medical for tomorrow. Radu, I put it into the private chat. I think I put it into the private chat. Also, I put it into the comments as well. Radu apparently still wants Spurs. He wants to live in London and has discussions. He's already spoken to Decky and Bentancur as well, who he played with at Juventus. So there's his agent. I want to talk about, if we can talk a little about agents just quickly, Jack.
Yeah, is he the reason why this has been stalling, do you think, Dermot?
Yeah, it is. Nothing to do with Levy, nothing to do with Scott Munt, Paratici, any of them, the usual people that reputations do precede people. But Levy offered them 30 million. It was 25 million up front and then a 5 million in add-ons, which is 30 million. with Jed Spence. That was a sweetener of the deal for Genoa. So they get a defender in return. His agent has been a complete idiot. That's politely, and this is before the watershed.
Does he have the best interest? Do you think of his client? Do you think Dermatron? I feel like because Dragusin, if he were smart, I think actually, and this is obviously biased, but I do think Spurs would be the better move for him than Bayern Munich. And is it just that the agent is looking for maybe a bigger payout? Do you think?
There's two. Yeah, it is, and there should be better regulation in the agents' field, where FIFA and UEFA have to come in to do something because agents are ruining the game. And Bayern have now put in an official bid, but that's been rejected also for what I'm hearing. So Radu will come to Spurs. It will happen. We just got to be patient.
Good. And you're excited if this is this a good signing for Tottenham? Have you, what I like about him, Dermatron, is that he's very good in the air from what we can tell. And we've been needing, as good as Romero and Van de Ven have been in the air, we've been needing guys like that for a while now.
Yeah, it is. And also with Timo coming in as well, I'm really excited. Whoever thought Tottenham would buy early in the transfer window, 9 days in, Jack, and Tottenham have bought somebody. I mean, when's that ever happened in our lifetime? Not like, and I was saying it in my own show today. Levy and the Paratici, Scott Munn, Lang as well, they all deserved a little bit of credit here for getting these deals early. Ange is being backed. Look, it will happen. We just got to go through this bit of purgatory.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow he'll be there, Hotspur's way, lifting up the Spurs show. I've been told it would have been announced today and tomorrow. And then that's it. I think we won't be doing any more in the business, bringing anyone else in. For what I'm hearing, there's a few players going out, but Gallagher one now will not happen to the summer. Gallagher apparently staying at Chelsea for this month, so he won't be moving anywhere.
Do you feel like in the case of Timo Werner, is it going to be a flop of a signing? Is it going to be kind of a bit of a mix? Do you think it's a clever signing? I'm sort of in the department where I think it could end up being a very clever signing by Spurs. I'm not expecting Timo Werner to hit the Premier League, light or anything like that. But I do feel like he is going to be useful. And there is sort of something about him that it could make sense with this Ange Postecoglou team. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Look, 17 million in the summer, if he's any good, that's pittance. In transfer market wise now, that is pittance.
Yeah.
And look, we need, after Richie against Burnley, I said it to Philip. I mean, it was the only night my internet went down and I was watching it through the fuzzy sort of screen on the telly, trying to make out Richie. But I knew when he was on the ball because his balls went left, right, and everywhere. But we do need an upgrade on Richie. So we have to see how it happens. But I'm really excited by Werner. I really am. I think he under Ange, he will excel. He will. Anybody working on the Ange will excel, and he will as well.
Leighton Evelyn, good to see you, sir. And Dermatron, for you, he's saying club expected both bids, Tottenham and Munich. It's up to player to choose. He's saying Spurs are not dragging their feet. It's actually up to the player.
Yeah, and that's what I've been saying now for the last sort of 4 days. I've got a hell of a lot of abuse on social media because I'm sticking to my gun because I know what's happening. And it is up to the player. The player wants to come to Tottenham, and he will come to Tottenham. So there you go. It will happen. Look, it will happen. That's all I can say. I can't say any more than that because I want to say a lot more, but I can't say a lot more until the transfer is done. And then I'll write a book for you, Jack.
You've told us enough, Dermo Romano. Good to see you, Sebas.
I like that.
Dermo Romano.
Actually, I'm taking that. I am taking that nickname.
Go for it.
Taking that for the month of January.
Well, there's some other bits that we have to talk about, Dermatron. And what are your thoughts on maybe us getting Man City in the FA Cup? We were drawn with them. I mean, are you nervous about it? Kind of disappointed because we're already in only 2 competitions anyway. So, I mean, it'd be a big game for Spurs. So it could mean that we get knocked out and then are only left in the Premier League. Or are you going into it confident? What was your reaction, when you heard about it?
I was, when it came out, I just said straight away, me and Philip did the draw last night. And I said, we're going to beat them. And that was my reaction straight off. And we're at home, a full house under Ange ball. Man City haven't scored at our stadium, haven't won at our stadium. but we've got a very, 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 very bad record against Man City. Out of 11 games in the FA Cup, we've only won 4 and lost 4. We've drawn 3, and we've scored 20 and conceded 21. So, Man City will have a sort of a very up and down fixture history with Man City in the FA Cup, but it's a game we will win. The cup's ours this year. I think we're going to Wembley this year, and I think Man City. I've been saying it all season. That they've lost their hunger. They've lost their. There's something missing with that City team that isn't clicking, and I don't think they'll win the league this year either. I think they may win the Champions League, if it's to anything, but domestically, I don't think City have a chance to not play well. And it's a game we should win. It's a game we need to win. If we're serious about winning trophies, Gary Mabbutt said it last night. You have to beat the best to be the best. And we had to play them somewhere in the FA Cup in the run to the final anyway, if we're getting there. So I'd rather get them out of the way now than the semi-final or quarter-final. So, yeah, it's a game. It's a winnable game for me, Jack. And I think it's a game it's a game that we should win. I think we will win and should win. That's my opinion.
I feel like Man City are probably more nervous about this game than they would be if they actually made it all the way to the FA Cup final. Personally, I think they always find Spurs to be a tough customer, and even when we're playing at our absolute worst, even when we have no players available, I've seen Harry Winks put in great performances against Man City on multiple occasions. Like it's just in our blood to put in a good effort against them. So I just feel like Man City, a team that sort of win the FA Cup, especially the Carabao Cup, just like they win it for fun and they win it easily. I feel like anytime they're matched with Spurs, that's sort of when that's probably their real cup final. I think
you can see Pep in the corner, right? When he saw Spurs come out last night, you can see him going for the drinks cabinet, right? For the whiskey or the vodka, right?
Indeed.
Just give us one of them, not them again, please. Not
just rubbing his bald head even further, with even more just sort of headaches. But also the other Manchester team we're going to be coming up against this weekend, Dermatron. What are your thoughts about them? And I mean, Man United, always Man United. I mean, you have to sort of look at it like that. But of course, the big conversation around them is, they're not really the same Man United they once were. Also, it's been a bit of a toxic place, I must say, Old Trafford. Erik ten Hag under a bit of pressure. I mean, what type of performance do you think, they'll put in? And, how do you think we'll play?
Look, Man United. Man United not playing well this season, and something's not right with Man United with Ten Hag, whatever it is. It's a game that I think we can go in with a lot of confidence of winning up at Old Trafford. We don't win up there very often, but I think this is the one occasions where United are beatable at home. I watched them last night, Jack, and there wasn't anything that stood out for me by watching Man United last night. I thought Rashford was very poor. I thought Fernandez, what's his name? The captain.
The captain for Bruno Fernandes, their captain?
Bruno Fernandes, yeah. I thought he was very poor last night. I think the defense is very gettable, and I think their goalkeeper is one of their weak links. I think if we get a point, it would be good, but I think I'd demand a win. You should try to win your home games and get points away, but I think they're beatable. And I think Tottenham, in the form they're in, I think they can go up there and get a 1 or 2-0 win for me.
Will Van de Ven be available this Saturday, do you think? Do you think he'll be called upon?
I'm hearing he might be. I think he will be. I think he has to be because of Davis having his hamstring. But this is why there's such a rush to get the Radu deal in as well, because Ange wants him to play with Van de Ven on Sunday in the back four. So this is why there's a sort of a rush to get this deal done. But look, Jack, Man City, if you want to beat Man United, this is the time to do it. This is the season to do it. I think the players are not happy. I think Ten Hag is not happy. I think there will be changes at United, I think, at some point. But I think we've got a great chance of winning up there. Why can't we not win? We're 6 points off the top of the league. Let's go for it, guys. Come on.
Why can't we? I love it, Dermatron. And I hope that we, continue this winning form, because while others seem to be dropping points at the top of the table, win against Man United, I mean, it always is going to send shockwaves because everybody loves talking about Man United. I do love feasting on the bones of Man United, especially in their drama.
Mm.
So I hope that we can cause them some drama. Does that mean we push on further? I'm not going to go that far, but I just hope that Spurs do get a win this weekend, because getting the double over Man United in a season, when's even the last time we've done that? Actually, I can't even recall the last time we've done a double
I
over
can't
them.
recall the last time we did that, but it would show if we get a win on Sunday against Man United, it shows that we're within a Champions League fight. And we're there. We're in that top four. We're making it easy on ourselves. And it's these games now up to April where we need to pick up wins and points. We have to remain unbeaten. I think we can do. April, if we're there or thereabouts in April, I think everything's off the table. I think we just sling everything at it. But we need to get a point, at least get a point, but a win, but at least come home with a point at least. And I think that'd be a good result for us.
Right.
But I'm really excited about this. I'm excited about Tottenham in the second half of the season.
Yeah.
This time last year, we were pulling our hairs out over the team's performances and the manager. And isn't it funny? A year later, we're so optimistic. We're
It is.
A year in football is a lifetime, but we're so optimistic. We've got a signing in 9 days into the window. We've got another one coming in as well. Ange is being backed. And it seems the whole culture of Tottenham has changed from a toxic place where everyone was at each other's throats, from the players to the manager to the fans to the owners, where we're all one team now. You go onto a Spurs stream and it's just full of, you're going to get your fans that are never going to be happy. And that's normal. That's at every club. But the majority of us are all behind Ange, all united behind this one man, this figure that's leading us into the promised land. And I do believe Ange will be very successful. I saw what Ange did up at Celtic. Paul did as well. Philip did as well. And I've never seen us playing this brand of football for a long, long, long time.
Yeah.
And I've fallen back in love with Tottenham again. This is what Ange has made me do. I've now back in love with my club again, and I love my club. And it's, apart from my family, it's my second love. And last season, we were all disillusioned. Ange, come on, we're behind you. We're going to be successful. And if you want to doubt. But don't come back and apologize to us when we show you that we were right. Ange was the man. You come back, you bow before him, and you just say, well done, sir.
Love it, Tron. And where should people be bowing to you? You know, the Prophetron over on your channel, THFC Till I Die.
Yeah, Prophetron's been working very hard.
Dermo Romano, what's going on? What's next? What's coming up next?
Yeah, I've got a show tonight at 10 o'clock, transfer update, where I'll go over all the other Premier League clubs around the transfers around Europe as well. We're on every day at 4 with Newsbeat, the Spurs transfer show. We'll go everything through Tottenham transfer news. And then we've got the roundtable discussion on Thursday. We've got the Cockerel Clock podcast back again on Saturday or Friday or Saturday, I can't remember. And then we're doing the watch along to the second semi-final in the League Cup tomorrow, Middlesbrough against Chelsea. I think that's tomorrow. We're going to cover that as well. So we're doing a lot of other stuff, and channels expanding. We've got a lot of new stuff happening and a few little things I can't say what's going to happen. We've got loads of stuff going to happen. So really excited.
More secrets to be told later by Dermo Romano. Love it.
It's not so. It's more like it's going to make the channel bigger than it's going to help grow the channel. It's more on a channel side that it's going to help. But yeah, we've got a lot of things happening and absolutely over the moon. And please like Jack and Dave. Dave, I hope you're all right. I hope your family's okay. And I wish you all the best. If you need anything, you know I am. And Jack, if you need any help, any shows, just text me and I'll be there for you and help in any way I can. And please like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you, sir. Everyone. And thank you for having me on.
Love it. Thank you, sir. And we'll catch you later, Dermatron. Please, everybody, check out THFC Till I Die. Thanks for getting us started, my man. We'll see you later.
I'm only 286 away from 2K, so I want to get there before February. So
push them on, everybody. Please, let's get there. We'll see you soon, sir.
Yeah, Happy New Year again, Jack.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you. Everybody, that's Dermatron from THFC Till I Die. Do go head on over to his channel, check him out. We're going to keep this rolling, though, please, everybody. And if you haven't already, keep getting your comments in, trying to put them up on screen, but also trying to have a conversation as well with all the lovely people that have come on and have their say on this fan show. And yeah, if you do want to stop us, though, at any stage, feel free to throw in a super chat to get your opinions heard straight away. But do my best to sort of balance everything tonight. Good to see Leighton Evelyn. Good to see Gamer16, Slips128 in the house as well. And big Tyler, good to see you, sir. Great calling as always from Dermatron, indeed. Andrew Seymour, Annika Rowling, and Stephen Thomas. Always do appreciate you guys, and Ian Ferguson as well for tuning in. But let's move on to Brad Matthews, man on the couch. Hey, Brad.
Hi, can you see me? Oh, here we are.
Yeah.
It's a sofa. It's a sofa, not a couch.
Yeah. No, I have to get my yank.
It's in the name there. See the name.
It shows how wired it's in me as well. You know that one. Well, should we start with Timo's time? Turbo Timo is what I've been saying, or is what people are saying, or should we go someplace else?
No, let's start with Timo. Well, when I first heard it, I thought, oh, yeah, that's the one that was rubbish at Chelsea. And I sort of thought about it more and found out about the deal. And his record until he played for Chelsea was really, really good. And the actual deal being a loan deal until the end of the season with no obligation to buy. And if we do want to buy him, it's 17 million. I think it's a bit of a no-brainer. I was speaking to one of our managers in the office today. He's a massive, massive Liverpool supporter. And he was saying he wanted Timo Werner at Liverpool. And this is before he even went to Chelsea. And he felt that even when the guy was at Chelsea, that someone like Klopp could have got the best out of Timo Werner. I think we could be in the same situation with Ange getting the best out of Timo Werner. And the other thing is that we from what I keep reading about and hearing about, it's all signed off by Big Ange. So these are players that fits into his system that he wants. Right. So, hey, we've got to go with it. We've got to go with it. And hopefully, it's added strength. I mean, they show him on Sky Sports News and that, and they basically show 2 or 3 absolutely amazing goals that he scored for RB Leipzig and that. But no, look, let's hope it'll work out, sort of thing.
I think he suits this team. But what I don't know. This is what I said to the members, and then the video will be out tomorrow. But one of the problems I've had with sort of some of the forwards this season is I do feel like they are passing up what are sometimes half chances or sort of quarter chances and maybe looking to just give it to somebody else to take the chance. And Timo Werner, like every striker, is probably going to be a bit more selfish than some of our other players in our team. And he will shoot and he will fire on goal. Whether it's going to be going in top bins every time, probably not. But I think this is something that would be the step in the right direction.
Well, the thing about the game on Friday night was that Spurs were fairly ordinary. I won't say we were poor, but we were just fairly ordinary. And you couldn't really see a goal coming. But I just thought to myself, watching that game, it's going to take something really special to score in this game, to win this game. And up steps Pedro Porro with an absolutely cracking shot. That when I sit literally behind him as he's lining it up. You knew it was a goal, so more or less as soon as he hit. In fact, if you watch that back, he's literally celebrating before the ball goes in the net. And it was just one of those amazing things that you need to do to win those sort of games. You need match winners. So hopefully someone like Werner will be able to do that. I mean, Sonny's the same as well. Sonny can have a really poor game and pull out an absolute screamer. All right, we haven't got him for 5 or 6 weeks. But yeah, so we've got to give him a chance. I'm a little bit disappointed with the negativity that I see in social media, on Twitter and the WhatsApp groups and that. This is the season that we've all been waiting for. Everyone's really pleased how we're playing. Yeah, we're not playing well all the time, don't get me wrong, but everyone seems to be, this player's not good or that player's not good. Oh, he should be out of the club. He should be out. No, let's concentrate on the positive, the good, the players that are playing really well and the results we're getting. It just
I've also found it a tad bit toxic on social media, but then I sort of reminded myself, Brad, that it almost seems like that's the de facto mode for a lot of people when the transfer window opens. It's like the moment that
don't get me started on that.
Because it's like all of a sudden a different face just comes across, a lot of people, and it's also maybe having to do with just the expectancy that Spurs are just like putting their heads down, like working, as fast as they can, on every single transfer to get it done basically tomorrow. And I understand that because we do have players like in the center back position, especially, that, I mean, we should be working quite quickly to get the deal over the line, but there comes this sort of, I don't know, this weird urgency that then feeds into toxicity. And I get it, because we want them to work urgently and we want them to get the deals over the line, but it starts to just breed, I get a bad stench in the air sometimes, the transfer windows when it comes to social media and everything. I know how you feel.
I mean, apparently someone's saying this is the earliest we've ever got a player in the January window. We normally get most of our players in the January window are actually on deadline day. So, and I look, I've been critical of Daniel Levy in the past. Don't get me wrong, and for that very reason of not offering what the club are wanting for him, and so we'll give you $5 million less, and that's Grealish being the famous example, and probably, we don't like him now, but Bruno Fernandes was another example where we wouldn't pay the extra money to get the players that we needed. So, I've been critical of Levy, but at the moment, last night Twitter was in meltdown when the Bayern Munich thing happened. And let's face it, there's only a few people that are on Twitter that that actually do the hard work to find out what's going on in these deals. Most of the people on there are going, "Oh yeah, I've heard this, I've heard that," sort of thing. But people take it as being gospel, And last night was absolutely crazy. I gave up in here, and I just thought, "Oh well, if it happens, it happens," And
it feels like Spurs, for example, right? Spurs got no credit for getting the initial stages of the deal done, where we got the personal terms over the line. We sort of had this set in place type of structure of a deal already in line with Genoa. And then it has been stalling for a few days since then. That's what I joked about earlier. It was like, felt like we sort of had the structure of the deal done on like the second or the third. And now it's just stayed the same since then. But Spurs, of course, on social media, Spurs will get no credit for that. But then, by this stage, the moment that Bayern come in, all of a sudden, the deal's fumbled, everything's over, etc. And it does seem like there's that lack of balance. I agree.
We have all these positive things on Twitter. People like you're Fabrizio Romano saying, "Oh yeah, it's almost a done deal," blah blah blah. And then suddenly someone says, "Oh, Bayern Munich are in for it," and everyone goes mad. "Oh my God, it's over! It's over! It's over!" So let's wait. If it turns out that we don't get him because we've offered £5 million less or whatever, then be upset, very upset. I'm going to be upset if that's the case. But at the moment, we just don't know. And I was just going back to one of the previous comments from I can't see his name. Anyway, it's about the registration for the Premier League. Apparently, for Sunday's game, it's midday on Friday. There we go. Yeah, Leighton Evelyn. Yeah, it's right. It's registered by Friday, and I think it's midday Friday to be eligible to play against Man United. So I would say
Timo Werner can play against them, but hopefully Dragusin can.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's going to be interesting on Sunday because Van der Vaal is back. He was on the bench for the Cup game. Is he ready for a full 90 minutes? I don't know. Hamstrings are very, 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 you don't want to give him, test straight away, 100% test straight away. And that his pace is really his, that's a big asset of his. So I'll be very surprised if he starts. As for Dragusin, if he's signed by deadline day, well, by Friday, well, Van der Vaal himself was in the team against Brentford, and he had one training session. So
that's true.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting who's going to play.
It'd be funny if we did sort of throw him in straight away. And also, just quickly, there has been a tweet from Spurs Web. They must be quoting some Italian journalist. Fabrizio Romano, actually, funny enough, saying that he will be deciding his future in the next hours. Apparently, Radu Dragusin. Something to stay up for. If you're looking to stay up tonight and have some sleep insomnia, feel free to stay up and wait for Fabrizio Romano.
And if that's the case, if it's down to the player, well, then you can't blame anyone really. It's the player, it's his decision. I did like one of the comments in there, which sort of makes sense. Got me thinking that he played at Juventus with Decky and Bentancur, and I think we underestimate how helpful that is, and how helpful a good team spirit at Tottenham is. Now, if you think back to the toxicity it was under Conte to compare what it is like now, players will want to come and play for us, And Dragusin is 21. If he wants Champions League football, he's got a long time ahead of him. So, Tottenham are currently in 5th. So, I think we underestimate how that sort of people say, "No, come here, you'll enjoy yourself. It's great." And everyone that's played for Ange has said, "Oh, it's great playing here." Even Lo Celso, who you thought wanted to go, no, he loves it now. He loves it. "Oh, I love the training. I love the way we play football." So I think any player is going to be encouraged by that. So we've got an advantage there, I think, certainly.
That's the real miracle, getting Lo Celso somehow to love Spurs all of a sudden. Definitely was a real sign of Ange's ability. But also in terms of Dragusin, right? I feel like he's originally also a Paratici a recruitment. I think when Paratici was at Juventus, he brought him through.
Possibly,
and so what do you make of that? That also Paratici is still, maybe it's not that much of a surprise to you that he's still pulling the strings in some regard.
He's obviously doing something at Tottenham, isn't he? You know, whether it be an advisory role. I mean, he's having selfies taken with people at the games, isn't he? So
That's right. I forgot about that.
He's not exactly hiding, is he? So he must be involved in it, and you do wonder whether Tottenham said, well, look, we can't employ you because of what's been going on, but hey, look, consultancy, give you a nice little bit of money for that. That's not illegal. So I think that's going on behind the scenes, definitely. But
yeah, definitely. I have some other questions though for you, Brad, that we have to get through. FA Cup, Man City. Quick thoughts on that one. What was your initial reaction to that?
My initial reaction was no. Look, Man City are a decent team. Tottenham are a decent team, and I know that on our day we can beat Man City in that game, a one-off game. The only thing that worries me is that everyone goes on about, oh yeah, we always beat them. Well, that's probably going to give them more determination to beat us, isn't it, on that day? Although I do get what people have said about after winning the treble last season, that it's difficult to get yourself up, the following season. But if we play at the best of our ability with 61,000 fans behind us, of course we can win the game. I'm not going to go. I'm not saying we're definitely going to win it. Because that's not me effectively. But put it this way: look at the dross that have knocked us out in the last 5 years. The games that we should have won: Sheffield United, Middlesbrough, Norwich. 5-4 at Everton. The absolute garbage that have knocked us out. So if we play Man City and play really well and they beat us, well, hey, we've been knocked out by a decent team.
I agree with that. That's the beauty of Tottenham Hotspur, is that we've beaten Man City in the same week that we'll lose to NS Mira or something like that. In the exact same week. And it's just sort of two shades of it.
I'll be honest with you. Jack. I wanted to avoid, because I had all the numbers and what the numbers were. I wanted to avoid number 3 and number 21. Number 3 was Liverpool and number 21 was Man City. And number 3 actually came up the match before us. And I think they drew Bristol or whatever it was, Norwich. And I thought, oh, great, we've missed out on Liverpool. Because I personally think Liverpool are one of the favourites of this competition. I just think they're playing really well at the moment. But that's not saying we can't beat them if we got them.
Sorry.
Sean's saying here that he's pretty sure that's what Pep's reaction. It's really interesting. I mean,
I think Pep, doesn't like playing Spurs at the end of the day. So I think it is funny though that he's also probably not as confident as maybe we are either.
Look, they will know this is a difficult game. I mean, as I said, one of my managers is a big Liverpool supporter. He paid Tottenham the ultimate compliment by saying, "Oh, I love that draw. It's great. I really, because he knows that one decent team will be out of the FA Cup." So I think that it's a game that we can win it. We can definitely win it. Whether we win or not, we'll have to see on the day. Sure. Will Maddison be back then? I don't know, but
the other Manchester team, you want to give your quick preview thoughts and predictions?
They're a strange team, aren't they, Man United? They're a team that are capable of playing really good, playing really well or playing really rubbish. I think if we play at our best of our ability, get in there quick, because when we lost to them last season, we were awful from memory, and we allowed them to get their game together. We've got to basically stop them from getting their game together, and then get the crowd on their backs, all that sort of thing. But I think we can get a result on Sunday. We want to win, as Dermot was saying, but I'd be quite happy with a draw there. I really would. I think you draw your away games, those sort of games. It's not like we're playing, Luton away or the teams that we should be winning. Old Trafford can be a daunting place when they get behind their team. So but we're good enough to beat them, and we'll just, like the Man City game, we'll just have to see. I've opinion, we're good enough to beat any team in the league at the moment. We just have to make sure that we're consistent and play that football. And the fact that we got players coming back, and if we were to get through against Man City, wow, that's brilliant. We got players coming back, and one of the best teams out of the competition. So it's just great. So we'll have to see. I remembered. I have to mention something before I go. All right. Over here on TV, it's on Sky. It's a Sky program. There's an absolutely brilliant sci-fi series called The Lazarus Project. Now, it's just recently finished season 2. It's got 2 seasons. Season 1, they're all about 8 episodes. They're all about 40 minutes long, so you can binge watch it quite easy. It's one of the best sci-fi shows I've ever seen. It's absolutely brilliant. The dialogue is brilliant. It's British made. The dialogue's brilliant. It's quite funny. There are moments where you think, what would I do in that situation? It's all about time travel and things about time travel. That's not the reason I mention it. It is one of the reasons. It's absolutely brilliant sci-fi. The reason I mention it on this fan show is that the guy who wrote it, whose name unfortunately is Joe Barton, it's not the footballer. Joey Barton wrote it, and he is a massive Spurs supporter. In fact, he tweeted, I followed him on Twitter, he tweeted from the ground the other day saying, this is great, blah, blah, blah. 4 of the main characters in this series he's got a Dane who's called Eric Eriksson. He's got one of the main female characters called Archie. I'm thinking Steve Archibald. Another main character is called Shiv. I'm thinking Martin Chivers. And there's a 4th player. What's the 4th one? I can't think what the 4th one is. There's another player. There's another one who's got. That's right. One of the main characters is called Dennis Rebrov, and we all remember Sergei Rebrov at Tottenham. And the main character in the film is a Spurs supporter in the movie. He's a Spurs supporter in the movie. You see him in one stage. You get a birthday present, Spurs, this T-shirt. But the best thing is, it's all to do with time travel. They get dropped off in 2018, and they're walking down the road. He's with his girlfriend, and he's saying, "Oh wow, we've still got older. This is the year we had Alderweireld and Vertonghen as central defenders, and next year we play in the Champions League final." And his girlfriend goes, "Are you going to cry again?" And he goes, "That was never a handball. It's never a penalty. The ball hit his arm." And she goes, "Oh, we're not going to have that argument again." So he got all these little bits.
Wow.
They also hang out at his parents' house because he knows they're going to be away. And he goes into his bedroom. He's got like White Hart Lane and on his bedroom sort of thing. So yeah, it's an absolutely. I mean, you take all that away, it's still a brilliant sci-fi series. But I thought that was really good. So
unexpected Spurs.
And I'm sure there are other. What I think they call them Easter eggs, don't they? I'm sure there are other Easter eggs to Tottenham that are in there, sort of thing. So nice. Yeah, I did enjoy it, and that made it even better that there was a Spurs thing. So yeah, follow Joe Barton, not the footballer. Follow Joe Barton on Twitter. A big Spurs fan.
Very good to hear, and I'll check it out. I just looked it up. Looks like it's on Hulu. So
it's probably on the
maybe me just mentioning it, will then pop up, all of a sudden, on my Hulu.
It's on Stan in Australia because I was trying to get my mum to watch it. There you go. There you go, Mark New, Steve Archie. Well, yeah, the main character, Archie, and she's lovely as well. I have to say, the character who's Archie, she's absolutely gorgeous. So, even more reason to watch it.
Please also, as well, everybody do check out Blue Sofa Songs. It is a sofa. It is not a couch, like Brad said earlier. And everybody, please
check out Blue Sofa Songs. I'm probably not going to come out with anything new until probably February because I'm taking a bit of a break to reassess things and to learn a bit more about sort of music and that sort of thing and recording and that. So but I'm happy with the Christmas song. Christmas song has had quite a few views, so that's really good. Getting good reviews, and also was mentioned on a guitar live stream that I watched and I take part in. So the guy who hosts that actually sort of advised people to check it out. So so that's really pleasing. And also subscribe to Blue Sofa Songs and subscribe to IrishHotspur. I noticed in the chat actually, every week I'm on the fan show, I noticed in the chat lots of new people in there. Lots of new people. Yeah. So it's really good. So it's one of the best shows. One of the best shows on YouTube. But yeah, that's great. And I thank you for the opportunity, as they used to say on The Apprentice, didn't they?
No problem, Brad. Thanks for continuing
and
the good vibes in the fan show.
Yeah. Happy New Year, Jack. Happy New Year, David. Happy New Year, everyone in the chat. It's 2024, a leap year, so we get an extra day. So
nice.
hopefully be really
take advantage.
Be great for Spurs as well.
Alrighty. Well, thanks for a great chat as always, Brad. And
cheers, Jack, and hopefully get you over here again sometime.
Yes, would love to.
I'm going to meet up with
try to
Dermot when he
save up.
comes over. Hopefully, he can come over and David come over. And we'll get
Yeah,
the gang together again.
Exactly. Get the gang back together again. Alrighty, Brad. Have a good night, sir. Enjoy yourself.
Cheers, Jack. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Pick up Brad from Blue Sofa Songs. Do check him out. And also check out that Lazarus project. That actually was really funny to hear that there's a big show out there that has so much, like you said, Spurs Easter eggs included in there. But great chat as always with Brad Matthews. And feel free to follow suit, everybody. Come become a channel member. Have a good chat with myself, just like Brad likes to. Really do enjoy the chats I have with him as well as Dermatron. And we're going to continue them into the third one now. And let me check my order. Sean, looking forward to this. Sean Maddox, bring him on here. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. It's transfer season, so it's always hectic. I feel like I read 5 articles that all claim we're signing the player / not signing a player.
Yeah.
So it's always entertaining to kind of see where that ends up. But again, we got at least one player. That's a improvement already.
Not the
Hopefully
center
we'll
back, though. It was a striker instead, which seems very Spurs typical, right? I sort of joked about that, thinking that that would be Spurs fashion to sign a player that maybe we kind of needed, but not as much as the obvious one, right?
Well, again, I think the decision to let Phillips go meant that they have something lined up. I imagine they have a backup plan other than Dragusin. Again, this has been a lot more competent over recruiting team in the last few seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they have a few options thought through. So I'm not as concerned. Again, I think before they mentioned Dragusin, I had never heard of that player, and plenty of other people hadn't.
Neither done.
If we don't get this player that no one's ever heard of, and we get a different player that none of us have ever heard of, I won't be too mad. Again, if Ange signs off on whatever player they bring in, then I'm happy with it. But we do need to bring in a center back. We're too light in a few areas.
Definitely need somebody. And maybe the player that we did end up bringing in, though, is the speedy little German, Timo Werner, Turbo Timo. I think you might have called him in the private chat. Is that what sort of the main reason we signed him for is his turbo-ness, is his pace? Or do you think there's something else to it that maybe Ange sees in him and likes in him? Because also we've been told that Ange has really pushed this signing.
I mean, pace is probably a big part, as we need a little bit more, particularly someone through the center at times just to mix it up. But again, I think I'll have to give a shout out to We Are Tottenham TV. They put together a really interesting stats video where they were looking at Werner and a few of the other wingers we already have. And they were highlighting how well he carries that ball in possession. And again, that was something that a lot of our wingers weren't doing with a lot of frequency. So I think he'll offer a different option off the bench. And Werner, he doesn't stop running. He's pretty heavy on that press, which is massive in this Ange system. Again, I felt like with Johnson coming in and Son out of the team, the press hasn't looked as good. I mean, I think Richarlison has been one of our best pressers, but I mean, potentially if you have Timo on the left pressing and Richarlison, we might have even more opportunities to win that ball high and keep them from escaping out. So I think there's some benefits.
Yeah. I also like the Timo Werner signing in the sense that he's a guy that at one stage in his career was banging them in, like for multiple managers, Hasenhüttl, Nagelsmann, and Ralf Rangnick. And those are all, in a sense, attacking, high pressing, type, teams and managers. Like, it seems like in a weird way, like he sort of could almost kind of embed into the team kind of straight away. It's not like you have to teach him what it's like, to work in a team that, has a high line and presses high up the pitch. It's not like he hasn't played in a team before that plays with a high tempo when they do get the ball back and move the ball quickly. I think a lot of the things that Ange sort of has in his foundations of his, team are actually kind of pretty common across a lot of Bundesliga teams, and especially RB Leipzig teams. So do you feel like he could actually hit the ground running, perhaps? Not even take all that much time?
Again, I think he plays best in that system. He has some Premier League experience. Again, I think people kind of mock Chelsea, but his numbers aren't as bad as I think that we were joking at, I think you were pointing that out in a video on the channel. The numbers are actually decent. He's also got some pretty good creative numbers for a forward in his career. And again, he fits the system, and I think that he's got something to prove. And I also think that most strikers in the last decade have failed at Chelsea for one reason or another. So I think that there's more going on, and that was a really disorganized period.
Yeah.
Because I think he actually looked a little bit better under Tuchel than he did Lampard. So again, I think there was a lot of disorganization. I don't think many strikers would have done well.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, Chelsea strikers over multiple years have not done well. Since I think the last one that actually banged them in regularly was probably Diego Costa's. Maybe the last time I can remember a guy that maybe was doing it pretty regularly for them. And so it's been a cursed position, you could say, actually, the Chelsea striker. They haven't recruited well, or even just maybe some of those guys that they did bring in that probably were good players just didn't work out for whatever reason or another. Do you think with Werner, he's also going to maybe solve the problem that maybe, I don't know, we've had a problem, I think, sometimes of just trying to create the perfect goal too much. Maybe he's a guy that just will be like, you know what, I'm just going to shoot this here. And he actually will perhaps put it in the back of the net when, I don't know, we passed on some moments to shoot, I think, in games, Sean, that have actually made me angry in watch-alongs, where it's sort of like, geez, come on. I mean, it's not the perfect, sort of chance, but there is a gap there, have a hit. And sometimes we just pass it on to somebody else and then the move breaks down. Do you kind of see where I'm coming from?
No, that happens too often. Again, I think Brennan Johnson is the common example. He passes when he should shoot and shoots when he should pass.
Yeah.
Again, I actually think Johnson's been looking better, and I want to give him a little bit more time, especially he was out for a little while with that injury.
True.
So he's still got some time, I think, to kind of get his form sorted. But again, I think Werner being a bit of a natural striker will give kind of like Sonny when he's on that left. When he was playing with Kane, is Sonny was always still threatening from that wide position. And I think just having more of that goal threat around will help a lot. And also, I think that once we get Maddison kind of back into the team, we'll have that much more creativity and springing the forwards. So again, I think we're only on the ascendancy. And again, the structure of the loan deal makes perfect sense for us. Again, we needed someone coming in with Felice injured, if only just to fill and Son out, just to fill up the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So a loan deal makes sense. It's non-committal. And if he does really well, which I think Ange is expecting, and I think a lot of us are hoping for, then we can make it permanent for the cheapest fee for a established kind of higher level striker.
Definitely. Are you a little worried that he has the tendency to miss a sitter, though? I mean, Jason Bell saying my main memory of Werner at Chelsea is him regularly missing sitters. We already have players who can do that already.
I was going to say, Richarlison misses sitters all the time. Johnson missed like 3 sitters in that last game. Forwards can miss sitters. It really just means that they have to hit more. I mean, if you look at Haaland, he misses a lot of shots.
Mm-hmm.
But he takes enough of them and can score a percentage. If he scores 30% of his shots, but takes 6 shots a game, he can still score 2 goals. And I think with this Ange ball system, if we can get to the point where we're really kind of creating, I think the chances that you were seeing when Celtic was playing, like at a higher level, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're entirely clinical. It's about getting a goal or 2 across the line.
Yeah.
You're not going to score all of them.
No, definitely not. Spurs dragging the heels on the Dragusin deal, or maybe something else at play here? What are your thoughts on this one continuing to take time?
It seems a bit weird that it's taking so long. Again, I think we would probably be more aware, and more articles would have said Spurs like refusing to pay, which we typically have seen in other ones, or Spurs put out insultingly low offer for player, which we didn't see as many of those articles. So it seems like it could be something there. Again, I think Dragusin is a great fit. Profile-wise, someone who wins a lot of challenges, is good in the air. He's not the only player with some of those attributes. And it's more about finding a player that has the right attributes to play Ange ball.
Mm.
And again, the only benefit is that we really want someone in right away. So again, we hope this gets cross line. If it doesn't, I'm sure they have a list with a few other guys that are very similar that Spurs are willing to pay for. Again, I'm honestly more concerned at this point about getting in another midfielder, because I don't think we have enough depth in that position.
And is that maybe just of recent games, like with Basuma and Sarr, being gone, Højbjerg likely to leave? Like, where has that sort of, concern come from?
A combination of, again, Sarr being out is a big miss. He was one of our more consistent players in the system. I mean, it's good to have Bentancur back. But again, with Maddison out, he's playing more of a cam. We don't have a lot of backup in like an 8 that can defend a little bit, or even a 6. Especially, and Basuma's been bad since the Luton game. He has not maintained a high level for months, and Højbjerg is very inconsistent. Again, I wouldn't get rid of him this window because we don't have enough bodies. And then Skip's been dreadful for the last month since he's been playing a bit more. Again, he's too anonymous. It almost feels at times like we have one less person in midfield because he's not doing enough in any particular area. Yeah. He's kind of running around, not putting in tackles, giving the ball away with some dodgy passes. So again, he's not working. So again, unless Ange is going to go and play Donnelly or someone else, then we need to bring someone in that he will play.
And I feel like as well with the midfield, it's more kind of missing players like Sarr who can sort of do both ends, where they are able to contribute to sort of the creativity, but then also as well, you see that Sarr actually helps out so much defensively. And like you brought up with Skip, kind of feels like he's so anonymous. He's not really doing one or the other, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, he's just not doing one or the other for me. And that's what is really necessary in order to, I think, be in any way sort of considered for this midfield. You got to be either contributing to that sort of creativity in the midfield, or you have to be one of the willing pressers, one of the guys that's going to be one of those really tough, hardworking legs in the midfield. And Skip for me just hasn't been either. Even too, I feel like a lot of times I'm kind of just watching him sort of standing or kind of walking around even in a lot of situations, which is again very atypical of when he was sort of first at Spurs. It felt like when he first came up under Nuno, he was, throwing himself about, getting himself into tackles, and he was a part of the game a lot. I'm not sure what's happening. He does look lost. To be
again, he doesn't seem to be playing particularly well, and again, we've been losing the midfield battle in a lot of our games. That wasn't happening the first 10 games of the season, the first kind of quarter so far. So again, I think we need reinforcements there, and that's what I like about the Werner loan, is that leaves more money to potentially go in, spend 20 million or so, find some undervalued player that can at least contribute at a squad player level, because we need bodies in there, especially again if Højbjerg is about to be out the door, if Skip probably needs a loan spell. Again, we just don't have enough players. When we look at the bench in midfield, there's no one that Ange is willing to bring on consistently. So I think that's what I'd like to see at the end of this transfer window, is us bringing in another body.
I like it. I like it in that midfield. I like it. Have some other bits of business. Got to get asking to you as well, Sean. FA Cup drawn with Man City. How do you feel about it?
I mean, I don't see any downsides. Again, it's a hard game, but again, we're going to have to beat a City or Liverpool if we want to win the FA Cup. Better play that now, because then our hopes aren't like crushed in like a semifinal when we get a lot more. Oh, we're about to win the FA Cup. I think if we're gonna play, we lose, then it wasn't the semifinal. My hopes were not nearly as high, or expectations that we might win the FA Cup. And then City, again, has been a team that struggles against us. For some reason, Pep cannot beat Spurs consistently. And we've stolen a lot of games that we had no right winning or drawing in, coming out of terrible form at times. Mm-hmm. So again, I think Pep will be more disappointed having to play us than I think we should be. Because again, what's the pressure? If we're expected to lose and we lose, then we've followed expectations and lost to the best team in the world. If we win, then we're through.
The other Mancunian team, the other Manchester team, what are your thoughts on them ahead of this game?
I mean, my only concern is lately Spurs have been playing to the level of the opposition, and United has not been looking very good. So it feels like we could be in another Burnley type game. And again, I think especially if our midfielders don't step up and win that battle, because I think a weak midfield has really been impacting our chance creation and really our defensive solidity in the game, where we're not kind of imposing ourselves as much. But again, I think we have more than enough quality to beat a poor Manchester United team. So I'm not too worried. I think we'll probably end up signing off January with another win, and then we just wait for, I think, the City game.
Sorry, Mike kind of unmuted for a second there. Yeah, I'm Manchester United, to be honest. They're just not the team that they used to be, at least in my opinion. I'm not as worried about them. As well as I feel like with Man United, like they're under so much pressure right now with Ten Hag. Like it's just going to blow one way or the other. Either it blows where they end up, all of a sudden going through a bit of a resurgence under him and, kind of bounce back, or it's just going to sort of crumble. It feels like it's at that sort of stage of a climax, it feels like, with him. So I'm curious actually if Spurs could be maybe one of the nails in the coffin of maybe for the Ten Hag era, because some of these players, they don't even really look like they're that happy to be playing at Man United or really to be, playing under Ten Hag by the looks of things. So it could be the case that Spurs end up giving them, that sort of maybe that push to eventually just give the sack over to Ten Hag. But yeah, we'll see how that game goes. Man City, I'm sort of in your boat where I feel like we're going to come up against them eventually. So might as well come up against them now at home and see what damage we can cause them and see if Pep continues to shake in his boots against us. And sort of my last question, maybe for you, Sean, is sort of maybe any of the players that might be headed out the door, like maybe Dyer, Spence, potentially Brian Hill. Any thoughts on those maybe, and players you'd like to see be leaving?
I mean, I think everyone is ready to see Dyer move on to another team. Again, he's been here for a long time, very inconsistent levels of performance. Again, I think we've had patches where he's been playing fairly well and more patches where he's been playing pretty bad. And I also think that in the recent years, the bad performances have outnumbered any good ones. So again, I think he needs a change of scenery as much as we need some more reliable center backs. I don't know why Bayern wants him, other than Kane told them, hey, can you bring him here? And they're keeping Kane happy because he's going to score 50 goals in the Bundesliga this season. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But, if they want him, go for it. And then I think Hill, is the most interesting potential departure, just because I don't think it's a good idea. He looked really solid in that midfield. He brought a lot of kind of energy and changed that Burnley game a little bit as he's come on. And unless we're bringing in another midfielder, I'd rather play Hill in that midfield than I would Skip or some of the other players that we have.
Yeah.
Again, that one just seems, again, Hill hasn't been the player that I think we thought he would be, but I don't think we have enough bodies to justify letting him go, especially if Ange isn't bringing through the academy players to get minutes to fill those spaces.
I think Hill would actually prove to be a very useful sort of squad player at some stage next season if he ends up sticking around, because we're going to have so many competitions that we're going to be competing in that there's so many injuries that we've already had without even any Europe. So the moment that if we do get European football, I mean, imagine, the injuries that could still happen then. And so players like Bryan Hill could actually end up being more useful to have around than you think. But a lot of people don't rate him, and a lot of people do sort of throw that price tag on him. And that's how most players are going to end up being judged at the end of the day anyway. So we'll see if Bryan Hill can maybe turn some people's minds or change some people's minds over this next 6 months, and perhaps he could stay. Any final words before I let you go, though, Sean?
No, just excited to see what business we get across the line. Again, I think that we'll have at least one, probably two transfers in addition to Werner. So hoping that we get the important positions addressed. But again, until they're holding the shirt, I am not buying into any transfers and the rumors, as too frequently are they less accurate.
If you were to make a bet, what would it be on Radu Dragusin going to Bayern or going to Tottenham?
I think I'd still probably put it down to Tottenham. Again, I think the Bayern stuff came up very late, felt like agent talk at times. Well, again, I think there's probably some level of concreteness. I just don't think I don't understand why the player would want to go to Bayern. He's not going to play. He's not anywhere near as good as De Ligt or Kim Min-jae, or I forget which other.
I believe is there as well.
I was like, there's one of those French ones. But he's not as good as any of those other center backs. So he's fourth choice. He's really not going to play. And I don't think, again, if at Spurs we have a lot of injuries and issues, there's some game time to be had. And I think he's at a level to compete. But again, if he wants to go to Bayern to sit there and win trophies, then he's not a player that I want at Spurs.
Yeah, understood.
We need someone who's ready to work and wants to fight for a position.
Yeah, I agree. I hope Radu Dragusin is a man of his word and sticks by that personal terms agreement and heads on over to Spurs way, and we'll see him soon when we'll have a new man bun in the team as well. It's been a while since we've had a guy with a man bun, since Gareth Bale, I believe, was the last one with a man bun, and you always do need one eventually. So hopefully he comes over and we'll see him in a Tottenham Hotspur shirt. But Sean, great chat, great conversation as always, and we'll see you soon.
All right, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Have a good night, man. Big up to Sean Maddox, everybody. You know him very well from the chat. Very, very good to us over here at the Irish Hotspur. So we do really appreciate Sean. And he's been coming on the fan shows regularly now. And I've been enjoying these chats with him. And we'll check him out over the next fan shows the next week, see how he maybe thinks about the rest of this transfer window, because it looks like moves are going to be happening. That's what I'm sort of distracted by, just sort of like looking at Twitter, looking at all these updates and everything, because Radu Dragusin could be deciding his future anytime soon here. It's kind of in the moment stuff here. But everybody, we're going to keep this rolling. We're going to keep this moving. Feel free. The link is still up there, everybody. If you want to come on and have your say, feel free to chat with me, but still plenty in the queue here. So we're going to keep it moving. I believe we're going all the way to Poland now. We're going to see what Michael has to say. He's been waiting very patiently. What's up, Michael?
Sup. They were very cold and windy, Poland.
Yes, you probably were cringing at the fact that we were complaining about our own cold weather, in comparison to what you have to deal with. But you're not being made any warmer by the Dragusin sort of a deal. But Timo Werner is through the door. Timo Zeit. What are your thoughts on Turbo Timo coming over? Are you skeptical, neutral, sort of worried? Confident? But how do you feel about it?
I'm a bit neutral towards it, if I were to be honest, right? I think there have been plenty of people who went both ways too much, in my opinion. I've seen a lot of Spurs fans being like, this is a genius move, Ange will do wonders with him, and he's always been a good player. And I'm like, really? Like, his last good season was probably like 4 years ago, when he was still considered like almost a wonder kid, right? I know his Chelsea still hasn't been like, it's been awful. Let's be honest, he's been awful at Chelsea. Absolute like waste of money. Let's not kid ourselves about it, right? And his last season at Leipzig wasn't that bad, actually. I think he scored quite a few goals and assisted quite a few, but he lost his place, right? So that's one end of the spectrum, and the other end of the spectrum is, and listen, like, I don't want to be the one like shitting on people who say that it's all Levy's fault, etc., etc. Because I do believe that maybe they sometimes go a bit too extreme, but I think they sometimes have a point where it just feels like that there can be like this ounce of like quality brought into the club, and sometimes we opt for an easy option, right? So I kind of get why some people are complaining about this deal, but on the flip side, I think I would much rather spend money on a center back and a midfielder and have a loan player brought in for a forward line than doing it the other way around. And I think if you consider players to loan, I think this is one of the more like average to solid options, let's say. Like, if you actually look at it at all the clubs around Europe, and you look at the forwards that they don't necessarily want, and listen, it's not because Timo Werner, as I said, Timo Werner last season at Leipzig was actually quite good, right? The issue is that he's not as good as Xavi Simons, and he's not as good as Openda, and that's nothing to be like ashamed of, right? Those are two, again, wonder kids, right? So in my opinion, he lost his place because Leipzig just brought better players than him, right? And he's not wanted there. So I think we will make a good use of him, right? Again, I don't want to go to this like he will be perfect for Ange's system, and he will find his Leipzig, like the first Leipzig team form again. I don't want to go that far, but I also don't think it's that bad of a signing, right? So
you think he could be useful is like another way to put it,
exactly,
right? Is that
exactly.
And that's what he's probably being brought in for, is to be useful. And if he ends up being better than that, then I mean, great. But I'm sort of with you, where when it first happened, wasn't exactly jumping for joy, but I also wasn't,
Exactly, right.
immediately looking for Chelsea sitter compilations to make out and put up on Twitter. Like, I sort of felt very neutral about it. I kind of, to a
Exactly.
degree, and when I feel neutral about a signing, then I start to think like, okay, could this actually maybe be a clever signing? And I think there are a lot of reasons to think that, where he does seem to be a player that would actually probably understand the system maybe sooner rather than other players would. I mean, the Bundesliga probably like I do, where they do sort of all play slightly similar, styles of play, where it's very high pressing, high tempo. You do move the ball quickly. It is sort of end to end. And that's kind of how Postecoglou likes to play. And I think Werner also has played under managers where he's thrived in that type of system, like under Rangnick, like under Nagelsmann, and even Hasenhüttl too. So there's something to that, where I think Werner seems to like Ange, and Ange likes Werner, maybe because they both have a similar idea or a similar love of a certain style of play. And Werner's also only 26, 27, I think, too, or something like that. Like, he's not exactly towards the end of his career. He's around the climax, I think, of his career in terms of his prime. So he's going to be very serious about which teams he thinks are the best sort of place to get the last bit of juices out of him, of his, his prime. And maybe that's Spurs.
Yeah. And listen, as much as you and David have been like the prophets of Hill Messi Church, right? with all due respect to Hill, I would rather have Timo Werner coming on off the bench rather than Hill. Listen, again, like, I don't want to shit on Hill, right? I just think this, and it's nothing like to be ashamed of.
He's more useful than Hill, you think, or Werner brings something better than what Hill brings off the bench?
I just think this league doesn't necessarily suit Hill, right? I think he can go to Spain and be a seriously quality player, right? I just don't think either our system, where we have to fight for the ball a lot. I know he runs a lot, but let's be honest, if you are a 1 meter 90, 85 kilo center back and a little fly is running around you, you can just, move him aside and do your thing with the ball. Whereas Timo Werner actually possesses some like more physical strength, and I think he also runs around just as much. Listen, that being said, if he keeps missing sitters like he did at Chelsea, I will be critical, right? It's not giving him a free pass, right? It's not just that, if he shows energy and runs around a lot, then that's it, right? He's a forward. He has to score at least some goals, right? Or at least assist some goals. So it's not like he's getting, a freebie here. But yeah, as you said, I think you've put it like perfectly. I'm neutral towards it, right?
Mm-hmm. And the Dragusin deal, that's been a funny one, and he could be deciding his future in the next few hours, Michael. First things first, maybe this is the right question that I should have asked people. You have £5 to put your destination on. Is it going to be Munich or is it going to be Tottenham? Where's he going? Where's Dragusin going?
I have a sneaky feeling he will choose us, but that's just a sneaky feeling. Listen, like, if you seriously like gave me maybe more than £5, because £5 I would be willing to risk, right? But if you gave me like £50 to bet, if I was supposed to bet £50, I would probably choose Bayern, because listen, like, as much as we are like a big club, Bayern is one of the biggest clubs in Europe, right? And I think not without a reason they are looking for a centre back. I've heard plenty of rumors that they are willing to part ways with Matthias de Ligt, right? And if we are talking about sneaky feelings, I have a sneaky feeling that they are doing basically a big dick move on us.
Yeah.
I think they've been so tired of the whole Kane saga, and they seriously like have grown to hate Levy, that I honestly think that they like deliberately tickled our balls with the whole Dyer shtick, make us hopeful that they will take him off us, looked at our top target, and then just are planning to
just quickly, that did go through my head. I sort of thought, like, geez, what sort of world do I live in where Spurs are buying the young and talented defender from the Serie A and Bayern are bringing in Eric Dyer? Like, I was like, this is a strange world we're in now. Like, what's going on over there? I know what you mean.
There is a part of me that thinks that this is basically their this type of deal towards us, right?
Yeah.
But listen, I'm gonna be honest. I've grown a bit tired of this whole saga, and I think like listening to those updates every day has become a bit tedious. And honestly, my enjoyment at the prospect of getting a new centre back has kind of died down. Not centre back, a new player in Radu Dragusin has kind of died down a bit. So I'm not as excited anymore to see him, just because it's been so like boring.
Dragged on,
dragged on. Pardon the pun, right? That everyone has made already with the signing, right? But listen, I hope we get him, and if not, if he decides to go for Bayern, I hope that we are in serious talks with another centre back at the end of this week, right? Because we fucking, sorry for swearing, but we fucking need a new centre back. We need a new centre back. That's the top priority, and yeah, that's it pretty much with Radu, right? We will see. We will see.
But I'm with you. I had said to Dave on a podcast, I was pretty much put a deadline. I was like, around the 10th, if we haven't signed a center back by then, I'll be pretty disappointed, because it just seems like that's enough leeway to bring a guy in. And it looked like that was going to be the case. Like, I felt like we had this Dragusin deal sort of lined up, or at least pretty much almost all the way there on, like I said earlier, the 2nd or the 3rd of January. And then it's just sort of remained in the same position pretty much since then. And it's been very, very frustrating indeed. Two other kind of bits of business we got to get through. Man City, we drew them for the FA Cup in the next round. What was your reaction?
I get the point of many people who say that it's probably good that we've got them, right? Because you have to play them eventually, right? I get it, but I also have to say I'm not one of those who wants the hero journey to the promised land, going through all the toughest adversities. If you gave me effing like Bristol, Middlesbrough, a League One team and the Burnley in the final, I would gladly take it, right? So for me, like I get the point. I'm happy that it's, if it had to be them, I'm happy that it's at home at least, right? Because if we were to go to the Etihad, I wouldn't fancy our chances. And I'm gonna be honest about it. Like I get the point when people say that we've been very good against them at our ground, that we are kind of their bogey team, right? But every record comes to an end eventually, and I'm just like really having like again a feeling that this tie might be the one where Pep finally scores a goal at our ground. Yeah, so it's a tough one, right? I think that there are only like probably 3 other draws that I would have, sorry, 4 other possible outcomes that I would have hated more. One is Stamford Bridge away. Like one is playing Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, City at the Etihad, and Liverpool, no matter if at our ground or their ground. I think those are the only 4 possible outcomes that are harder for us than the one that we got. Like, again, I fully recognize that we are really good against them, but you still cannot forget it's a bloody treble-winning team that's going to have all their star players back, right? Because KDB is back in training, Haaland will be back, Doku is back, like, John Stones might be back by then, right? So, and we are without Stone, without Sarr, without Bissouma, and possibly like Van de Ven and Maddison just coming back from an injury. So like they are not going to be their, fittest, and they are not going to be their strongest, right? So it's going to be tough as hell. But if we go through it, then I'm like fully backing us to reach like the end stages of the FA Cup, right?
The way I feel, I think it's more their cup final than it is our cup final, because I think they're probably more in fear of Tottenham Hotspur than whoever they even come up against in that. Like when Man City reach the FA Cup final, I have full confidence that they're going to win the FA Cup final. Yeah. If it's us that they're playing, ahead of an FA Cup final, I would almost guess that people like Pep are more afraid of us than they are who they even come up against in the FA Cup final. But the other Manchester team, Michael, how do you feel about them? We're playing them this weekend.
Just quickly with City too, right? I often browse Reddit and check out other like teams subreddits, right? And I kid you not, this is probably the first time where I've seen both fan bases after the draw be like, oh, for fuck's sake, not them. Like, it's like from both sides. Usually it's one team is like, oh god, why it had to be City, and City is like, yeah, we can take them on, like, no bloody problem, right? I think we are the only team where City fans go, it had to be them. Why the cock on the ball team, right? Why the cock on the ball team and not some other team, right? I kid you not, I like in City's fans' case, I think the only draw that they would have hated more would be Anfield, right? That's the only draw that they would have hated more. So it's really like entertaining to watch the reactions of both fan bases, right? But coming back to your original question about United, it's really strange, right? Because like I've been watching some of the United matches, the one that I haven't like fallen asleep during, right? Watching them, I haven't fallen asleep. So the ones that I haven't, I have actually tried to watch. For example, their last match against Wigan, and I kid you not, Wigan are 17th or 16th in League One, right? They are a struggling side. The difference between those two teams is effing massive, right? They watched United struggle at points against Wigan, right?
Yeah,
I watched their captain, this rat, diving against Wigan to get
Wigan played through them on a few occasions as well, like, which I find kind of funny.
Right?
Like it was like Wigan weren't exactly just getting it launched, like they were actually trying to play through them.
Right?
That's what was pretty funny to see. Yeah.
They were attempting to play out of the back successfully, often.
Yeah, successfully on a lot
of
occasions. Yeah.
And when you look at that and you think, wait, we've been playing like amazingly from time to time, right? I think that, listen, there have been like a couple of performances where we've been like, a bit shaky, like Everton, Brighton, not really the best performances, right? But overall, I think we are better technically than them. I think we are set up better. We have a better style of play and all that, right? And this is where the issue is, right? Because this Ten Hag guy, whenever he is supposed to fall off the reach, he just somehow finds the strength.
Yeah, he does scrape a win in these ones.
And just put his head over the line, right?
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't get it why. Like apparently half of the changing room is against him, right? And still, yet they pull the rabbit out of the hat and somehow win, right? So for me, like I am really afraid that this will be one of those. Yeah, this would be one of those where they probably do a Villa, right? The way they build, they have beaten Villa, right? I fear that this will happen, right? Because
I know
Old Trafford is kind of against him. But if they actually like feel that they can win, I feel like Old Trafford will keep backing them and yeah, he's all at 2.0 exactly.
That's
right?
Hilarious. He kind of is all like 2.0.
It's really strange. Like on paper, if you ask me, I think we can easily go there and win, right? But I don't want to be cocky because it's still Old Trafford, it's still Manchester United, and still somehow they find a way to scrape past wins, right? So I think if you offered me a draw right now, an entertaining draw, open, match where we score a lot of goals and they score a lot of goals, like 2-2 or something, I think I would have taken it. I don't think like Old Trafford away can be underestimated. But listen, like on the other hand, fucking Bournemouth went there and won 3-0. So nothing makes sense with United, right?
It doesn't.
It's really hard for me because I often like to look at facts, statistics, and make like logical conclusions out of it. And with Manchester United, I just can't because nothing makes sense when you watch them play. They are shit, but they somehow win. Then they are shit and they get trounced by Bournemouth at home, right? Then they are shit and they win like 1-0 against someone or draw at Anfield, right? How? Like if you looked at it, the draw at Anfield was the most illogical thing that happened this season because everything pointed to a Liverpool smashing, right? And they somehow shithoused a draw at Anfield, right? So it's really like tough for me to predict that one. But of course, I will be at my like family's home. I will be watching this match with my brother. And don't worry, Poland will be rooting for Spurs, at least that small part of it.
That's good to hear. That's very good to hear. Well, I don't really have any other questions for you, Michael. So unless you have another topic that you quickly wanted to bring up before I let you go, feel free to do so.
Like the only thing that comes to my mind, but I kind of know your answer because I've been watching like your podcast, right? But do you think we'll be buying or loaning another player, or do you think it will just be like Dragusin or some other center back and Werner? I have a sneaky feeling that we will try to go for a third one, but all depends on the outgoings. I think I've been pretty consistent in saying that if we get rid of Højbjerg, then I think we will bring in the midfielder. But this Conor Gallagher thing died, so I have plenty of names I would love to see at Spurs, but the issue is always money, right? So
yeah, I think it's actually going to be something probably similar to what was done in the Werner case. It looks like the Dragusin deal might be more of where we actually splash some cash, and then whatever happens from there might be sort of depending on who leaves. If we end up getting rid of a midfielder, I think Spurs are going to have to look to replace, in some sort of manner. I think Oliver Skip, hopefully could leave, but I don't see that happening. Højbjerg looks like he wants to leave, and how realistic is it to keep him around for the rest of the season, knowing that he does want to leave, and he hasn't made the biggest fuss about it, but I think you can sort of see in his body language, even at times, that he's just sort of wanting out of here. And if we get rid of Højbjerg, believe me, I think people hate the guy, but we do need to replace him. Like, he has come on and done us a service on a lot of occasions this season, where he's come on and changed games, done what maybe Ange has needed, sort of just to be that extra body in midfield, bring some control or tempo to the game. And he's been successful at that, I think, Højbjerg. And we're going to need somebody who can do that, maybe even do it in a better, more consistent manner. But still, like, I think Højbjerg, if he were to leave, we would then sign a third player. I think it's going to be more dependent, to answer your question, on somebody leaving, which I do think there will be. Like, look at all the guys that are leaving. You got Spence potentially headed out. Dyer's, of course, headed out. You have, I don't know, Sessegnon could leave. You never could rule that out. Brian Hill could be leaving. Plenty of people seem to be, Phillips left. Some of the guys from the academy are leaving.
Region
It's a busy window.
Region apparently has been told that he can like start looking for a different club.
So
I
you never know.
feel, yeah. I also like there is one more name. I think, bloody hell, I forgot. Like Tanganga has been also brought back to the club, and I think they will be looking for a different place for him, right? But one last thing, I promise I have to say it, right? The Burnley match, like Pedro Porro, my bloody baller, my right back. I absolutely love the guy, right? But one negative that I have to say about this match, and you mentioned this guy's name, Oliver Skip, right? I don't want to shit on the guy. He's like our academy kid, right? But I've actually went as far as to check the stats, right? And we attempted 617 passes during that game. And as a midfielder, as a number like 6/8, because they were rotating with Bentancur, as a central part of this like squad that attempted 670 passes, he attempted 24 during 77 minutes of play, and only 16 of them found the target, and also 0 out of 2 long balls. So it's clear for me to see that this system just doesn't suit the guy, and this is nothing against him personally. I think he is like a model professional. Like, of course, I'm gonna love him. He is part of our academy, right? But I think we should get rid of him. No, if not this January, then in my opinion, in the summer.
I agree.
Right?
Definitely agree there. Well, Michael, great chat as always, sir. Thanks for keeping me company, and look forward to another one sometime soon.
Looking forward to it, Jacob. Bye bye.
Alrighty. Have a good night, man, and enjoy the cold. Great, man. Big up to Michael, everybody, our man out in cold Poland. I would love a Tiski, though, at this time. And it's probably not 5 o'clock yet, so maybe wait an hour until it's 5. But then would love a nice cold Tiski. That's one of my favorite beers. And the Polish do know how to make a nice lager, just good beer in general over there. So hopefully Michael's keeping himself nice and warm. Still waiting on any of these Dragusin updates, and haven't seen one other than maybe he could be leaning towards Bayern. If I were to give a quick take on it, and I think saw someone in the chat, yes, Coco brought this up here. Dyer has reached agreement with Bayern, so it doesn't make sense about Dragusin unless Bayern are being petty over long the Kane deal took, or Plettenberg is making this up. I feel like Plettenberg actually he ended up being right, really, about the Harry Kane situation, despite how long that took, right? So I think if he feels like Eric Dyer is headed over to Bayern, he hasn't even put that much news out there about the Dragusin deal, unless I'm mistaken. I think he seems to think that Spurs are sort of the leaders on it, but I don't know. I kind of agree with that. Maybe Plettenberg is sort of the guy to go with on this one, because he is sort of on the Bayern side of things. But I do hope that Spurs haven't. And I mean, I think we have another one lined up, but it just seems like it would be kind of crazy for us to wait past the 10th for a center back. We should get one in sooner rather than later. So let's hope we get this one over the line, but I will keep everybody updated as best I can. I imagine you guys are looking at your phones and looking at your notifications as well, but I'm going to try my best to do both at the same time here. Also, lovely to see that Chelsea 1-0 down to Bournemouth, to Middlesbrough at the moment. And I did tell Dave to put a bet actually on Middlesbrough to be either drawn or be 1-0 up actually at halftime. So that would have gone through for me if I actually could bet on the Carabao Cup, but I don't think you're allowed to, or it's not really available over here. It's not really a big deal though. So kind of keep this fan show rolling, being too distracting. All of a sudden got myself distracted. Let's keep it rolling. Go into who's next on the list. Daniel Larson. He's our next man. Daddy Larson. There he is. What's up, man?
Hello, Jack. How you doing, man?
Doing okay. I bet it's very cold for you. Imagine Norway up this time of year, but very, very freezing, I imagine. So
not now. Now it's actually in the plus.
Oh,
this week, but the next week it's going to be 20 minus below.
Okay, well,
so
enjoy this.
I'm getting ready. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Let's start with the doom and gloom before we go to turbo time. Timo, Dragusin. What are your thoughts on that? Because that's what I'm just looking down my phone at this whole time. Samuel, like, looking at updates. How do you feel about this whole thing dragging on? And I mean, do you feel like Spurs are going to be the one that lands him, or is it going to be Bayern steal him from us?
Well, first, I think actually, sneak film, being optimistic, I think we get him in the end, hopefully. But it's a joke for me how long this is taking. I mean, we started this before the January transfer window was open. We talks with him.
Yeah.
I mean, why? It's only Spurs this happens to. Only this club. I've never seen any other club having to deal with this shit. They 30 million they want for him. Go from 25. Why? Offer 30. I don't understand. Me personally, I don't understand that. But of course, I'm not a financial twat or anything, so I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna go into that.
Daniel
now,
Levy
of course-
hasn't hired you for it for the negotiations. It looks like
It'll be blood if that happens. Let me tell you. Jesus.
do you worry that like Spurs have felt like they had this sort of wrapped up, like I said earlier, by like the 2nd or the 3rd, it felt like, of January. Like we felt like we were pretty well ahead on sort of the center back situation, and now it's really stalled. Is it because of this agent, maybe, of Dragusin? Maybe he's sort of kind of made things more difficult. Is it Genoa? Is it just us? Like, who, if you were to actually blame anybody, Daniel, who would you blame the most? I'm kind of leaning towards the agent. I'm leaning towards the agent here.
Yeah, he looks like a character as well, to be fair. But I think it's us most of it.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, because like I said, they've asked for their price because he's probably the best player, I would assume. And of course, they don't want to lose him in January. And they ask, "This is how we think he's worth." Then you got to offer the money. That's we've seen it before with other clubs. So.
And since Paratici's been here too, Spurs have sort of been the club that seemed like they have 3 or 4 deals sort of lined up kind of at once, or at least the basis of 3 or 4 deals kind of lined up at once. So I wouldn't be surprised that if we don't get Dragusin, that all of a sudden Todibo lands or some other center back out of the blue just sort of comes about. And some people then would see that as the 2nd, 3rd option. Maybe it is, but I don't know. Since Paratici has gotten here, that's sort of been our style as well, to kind of have all these other deals sort of going on at once. But someone did bring up a good point that with sort of Eric Dyer being shown the door, very obviously, Ashley Phillips leaving, to Plymouth Argyle, sort of means like Spurs are planning on signing a center back, it looks like, within the next week.
I mean, we're definitely getting a center back. That's 100% sure. Whoever that is now, we'll have to wait and see. Of course, I'm not going to butcher his name, Tabuji, sorry. But he was our first choice,
the Nice guy from Nice.
Yeah. But it was too difficult to sign at this time. And then we just moved on to Dragusin, of course. And Ange said, this is my guy now. Get it sorted. And then it's taking too long.
Let's just hope that Dragusin's a man of his word, because Dragusin agreed to personal terms, and now he's, but he might be still lenient towards Bayern. So maybe he's I don't know, he's going against his word.
I'm not going to put myself in the player, position. It's got to be hard for a player as well to get in the head of all of a sudden the 2 clubs have to, whatever says, it's got to be hard for a player as well. So I'm not going to blame too much on him if he decides to go there or anything. But there you go.
And onto the speedy man from Germany, Turbo Timo Zeit. What are your thoughts on him coming? And former Chelsea man. Do you remember the sitters that he missed at Chelsea? And what are your thoughts on him coming here?
I said some things about him before, let me tell you. So I'm not going to say that now. But first of all, it's always good to have a German in the club, in my opinion. Got to have a German. But it's a long time. I think was the last time. Jesus. It's nice to have
it's been a while. We don't usually go after the German players. Quickly on Dragusin, I think we need a man bun back into the team. So I hope we do sign him, because last time we had a guy with a man bun was Gareth Bale, and he was quite good for us. And then before that, I think it was Nasser Chadli was the other one who had a man bun.
Yeah, he had the little one.
Yeah. So we need at least one player with a man bun. So I hope we get Dragusin through. But yes,
and he suits it as well, to be fair. So.
But what do you think, like, with Timo? Like, was that just Chelsea? Like, was that just a bad stint for him? And is Spurs going to be entirely different, or is it going to be kind of the same for him in terms of the goal scoring? Because that's what matters with him. We brought him in to score goals.
Yeah, of course. And when we first signed, we were linked, of course. So it just happened so quickly. I was like, wow, no. Then you get more positive and positive. I only think about positive now. First of all, he's going to get a lot of chances.
Yes.
He's going to get a lot of chances. And something he's really good at anyway is drawing defenders out. He's very good at fake runs, even though that's something. But So
No, I know what you
even
mean.
if
Like
he
he does,
doesn't-
it's tricky movement. He has tricky movement. I know exactly what you mean.
And even so, if he doesn't get chances, he's going to let other people get chances. And also, it's a loan. So if it doesn't work out, send him back. If it works out, 70 million option to buy, that's nothing today. So I don't see the issue with this, to be fair.
No risk is kind of
No,
what you're
no
thinking.
risk, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good way to
Yeah.
look at it. I sort of had felt pretty neutral about it when he first signed, where I wasn't immediately looking up the sitter compilations that he had at Chelsea, but I also wasn't immediately looking up, all the goals that he scored with Leipzig either. I kind of just thought, well, we'll see how this works out for Spurs and for Timo. There's
Yeah.
something in me that feels like this could be a very clever signing, actually, just because I think when I look at his career, he banged them in regularly at
Yeah.
RB Leipzig for a variety of managers. It wasn't like just one manager got the best out of him. Like a few different managers got the best out of him in Leipzig. Also, if you look at his European record, I sort of brought it up to the members and the video will be out tomorrow, but I said like his European record's actually not bad. In most seasons, he actually scored at least 4 goals in most European campaigns. And it's not like Cristiano Ronaldo numbers of, scoring 10, but scoring 4 goals regularly in the Champions League is not easy. And he shows that he's actually good maybe in sort of the clutch moments or maybe the bigger games, or I don't know, maybe just something about the Champions League sort of suits him for some reason. But I thought that actually was quite useful. Whereas if he were to stick around for next season, not a bad player it looks like to have around, when we do come up in those Champions League games. And it just feels like his bad stint in his career was with Chelsea. And there have been a lot of bad Chelsea strikers.
Yeah.
Maybe he's just one of those cursed Chelsea strikers, but maybe not cursed at Spurs.
100%. I mean, you look at Chelsea, you never know. Especially he had Lampard first signed him there. Jesus. And you had Tuchel, who's a little bit, you never know what you're going to get with Tuchel. And he played with Havertz and Mount, really. So it's difficult for him as well. So now I'm almost seeing the positive. Like you said, with the goals he scored for Leipzig that first season before Chelsea signed, my God, some hell of a goals. So
yeah. His pace as well, right? Having someone like him and Sonny in the team that can be played in behind. And they almost are similar in that regard, where they like to play in between the lines, play them through the lines, and one-on-one in front of the keeper, pacey players like that. Him and Sonny, I think they usually bury those sort of chances. And that's another thing that I think could be useful. Brennan Johnson's missed a few chances. Maybe, Werner could be the guy that puts them in. I've also screamed at all of our players to shoot constantly when they decide to pass it to somebody else. Maybe Werner will be more selfish than some of the rest too, which would be very helpful. Man City, what are your thoughts on drawing them?
Well, when I first saw it, I was like, oh God, of course, because I really, of course, want to come from. But now, when everyone said their opinion, what's been on there, like I agree that now you're meeting. I mean, second half City usually the best team in the world, So if we do win, if we do keep a record against them at home, my God, we got every chance to win this competition. Then. But of course, then we could beat City and then draw Norwich next round and lose still.
That's what I actually see happening. I see us beating that City and then losing to Maiden Town or whoever the team is that made it quite far recently. Whatever that team was, it's made it quite far. Yeah, I'm with you. Actually, I'm sometimes more nervous about some of the smaller kind of underdog type teams coming up against us than really us going up against a bigger team. Just that's how it is. Because I've seen Spurs. It feels like beat Man City in the same week that we've lost to Enes Mira. It's just we're that sort of team and. We do often even play better against bigger teams. Like maybe something about that just brings more of a better performance out of us, more motivated. I'm not too sure, but we've seen us come against some of these smaller teams come out so flat and so poor that I'd almost rather it be a better team just so that we know that we can get punished if we come out slow and come out poorly and that sort of thing. So maybe there's a slight positive to it. Maidstone United as well. Was King Huddle. Yeah, they've made an excellent run. So I don't want to play them. Weirdly enough, I don't want to play them. No. The other Manchester, though, we're playing this weekend. Thoughts on Man United, Erik ten Hag, their team?
No excuses for me. I want I'm sorry. I just don't.
You want 3 points?
Yeah, you don't even want expect 3 points.
I love that.
I'm not having that. I'm not. Yeah, but I'm not. They They didn't even know how to play. They don't have tactic. I'm Ten Hag are clueless, to be fair. So I'm not losing to them or drawing.
Yeah, you're in the Man United are terrible kind of bracket.
Yeah, they're
so we
shit.
should beat them.
Oh, they're bad. Yeah, but they're bad. They're bad. It's not even. Oof. So, but of course we need. Hopefully Werner can get. Well, maybe it was definitely probably an appearance. But also we need. See, this is where I mean, if we don't get a man in Emerson and Van der Ven, which is good enough, I would say them good enough to shut them out. I would say. So I'm not too worried there either. But the midfield is the only worry I have now. Ben is still not fully fit. Hopefully, because you can see he's still rusty. He still played well though, but so he's not probably going to play the whole match. Skippy, I want to see. Oh my god, he's so bad. He's so bad.
Yeah, it feels harsh, but I don't even know how harsh it is because you're watching the games with us, like, and he does look clueless. Like he looks so lost out there, Daniel, and it doesn't even feel harsh when you use a word like that because that is sort of his general look when he's even in the games. He just looks lost. Skip, it's a huge worry. He's had a real drop off, I think, because Dave keeps saying, oh, it's because we were so poor in midfield that people thought he was good. I actually do think he was a much better player when under Nuno and before that injury. I just think since that injury, for some reason, he's just gotten worse and worse. But he wasn't even that bad. I felt like last season, like even last season, he was poor at times, but he wasn't like this consistently just lost and clueless. He just really does look lost and clueless in the system.
Mental. Oof.
What about Højbjerg? Do you see him leaving this winter window?
Well, I don't really see us signing in the field at this point, so it's gotta stay then, even though he wants to leave. But like I've always said, I want to skip out him before Højbjerg. Højbjerg is twice the player. I'm sorry if anyone's offended by that, but it's just facts. So yeah, I'm gonna be sad when he leaves because I do like him, even though he's not good enough. At the end of the day, he's not good enough. Sadly, even though I do rate him at some point, but for this system, he's not good enough.
Yeah, I'll really miss Højbjerg as well.
Yeah.
I think that his season under Jose, that season under Jose, I think it was even the first season his first season, I actually put him up there as my MVP of the season. I think he was actually that great because that was such a terrible year with so many just dross of midfielders that we had to pick from. Sissoko, Winks, Lo Celso, who didn't care. Players like that in the team, and like it was actually a relief to have Højbjerg, in some of those games. It really was somebody who actually could rely upon at least for something. So yeah, I'm with you there. He's going to be a huge miss. Any other players? I mean, Dyer, that I guess he's headed out the door sometime soon, too, which will be a relief. But that's what do you make of the fact that Bayern at one stage were going to get him, and then we were going to get Dragusin? Maybe they've now changed their minds, Bayern, and realized that that's not a good look.
They're taking the piss. They're definitely taking the piss, Bayern now. Like, oh, we want Dyer. Yeah, sure. No, we want your target instead. I mean, I never understood why Bayern wanted him in the first place, but I just want him gone. I want him so far gone. Because it's just getting personal, the level of hate, which is sad. It shouldn't be like that, We're human beings, but it's actually personal. How much you dislike a person.
No,
because he could have any chance to leave.
Yeah.
He should have been gone this summer. But he's like, no, I'm gonna stay. So you brought this on yourself. So I'm having it.
Yeah, I could see the fan base really blowing up if Dragusin goes to Bayern, and then we realize we're still stuck with Eric Dyer for the time being. I think the fan base will really blow up for a bit. I could see that that's going to really bother you, especially Daniel. But that's all I have for questions for you, man, unless there's some other topic that you want to bring up. Pedro Porro, I know you really enjoyed his performance, man of the match last time. But yeah, that's all the questions I have for you, unless you have any other topics you want to get into.
No, I don't think so too much. I can talk a little bit. Well, the goal against Burnley, oh my God.
Goal of the season?
That was another for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, maybe there's probably some team goals other that I need to have a look at, but especially for pure technique, Jesus.
Yeah.
This was so. This is. I mean, he's all credit to himself how he's done this, because this guy was a wing back, and then he's trying to put a new position, been, the second or best player of the season for us.
Mhm.
He's a credit to himself, and he loves. I mean, I just love his passion for what he has for this club.
Yeah.
He absolutely loves playing for this club, and he's like a fan. You see,
Yeah.
pointing to the badge and dedicating goals to the terrible thing that happened to
Yeah.
that young fan.
He's a class act, Pedro.
Yeah.
He really is. I love him. He's a football man. You can really tell. He just gets it. He just gets it, that guy.
Yeah.
And
also
he's
after
an
the
exceptional player as well.
yeah,
He's
my
an
God,
exceptional
he's
player.
just
Not
one
only
of
the
those.
passion.
Yeah, and also when of course he signed the one game in, and it's, oh my God, shit, some of the fans quickly, and well, it's my prison now, basically said, and now it is his prison.
That quote is aged like fine wine.
Oh
Really
my
has.
God,
He's
just when
he's
you
terrific.
see a player, live up to his words, I love that. I just no exception, but yeah, and also Van de Ven back, my guy.
Yes.
I bought his shirt right and then like 2 days after I got the shirt, he got injured. So it's nice to actually have his shirt now. Actually,
That's
can you
typical.
it was, I couldn't believe it. So it's nice having him back. Even though I will say this, I know Ben Davies but I think Ben Davies has actually been one of the best performing centre backs recently in the Premier League.
I'd agree.
I mean, his
I think
stats,
him and Emerson.
Yeah, Emerson as well. I tweeted out.
No,
well.
you go ahead with Davies. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you were saying his stats.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's insane actually how he's performed. So all credit to him, because it's not hard, because he's injured now, but he would expect that when he's back, he will be benched again.
Mhm.
So he's just a professional, but I know it's not everyone's cup, but of course he has a howler in him, but credits where credits due. That's what I'm trying.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
And I even joked with Ben Davies so many times where I can be so harsh towards him. And that's because he'll put in like great spells like this. And then you'll randomly see then the next game he puts in one of the worst performances you've ever seen, like in a Spurs shirt, and he looks rattled and all of it. He's a funny player, Ben Davies. But I've also had to rethink also my hatred towards him at times, or at least my harshness towards him at times, because apparently he's one of the best friends of Sonny. In the team, and I think Sonny said like some version of like Ben Davies will never leave if I'm here or something like that, and it's made me reconsider. I was like, well, I do like Sonny, and I'm not sure if my harshness towards Ben Davies outweighs my love for Sonny and my need for Sonny. So maybe as long as Sonny stays, I'll tolerate Ben Davies being here. So that's what I've now had to rationalize. Well, Daniel,
one last thing.
Go
With
ahead.
Emerson
Sorry,
as well.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
no,
Emerson as well. Playing out position centre back, man, match against Burnley for me, incredible, performance, and then the way he stepped up as well. It's just professional athletes you want to see. Like Ange said, that's better than having maybe talent, and then what he said, like with you have one bad egg in the dressing room, that's worse than having just. Yeah, you know what I mean. If
Yeah, I think just also as well, Emerson and Ben Davies, like they've probably done as good as people as good as people could have wished for, if not better than what they expected for sure. I think much better than what they expected, because I think it all looked like it was going to be pretty much a disaster scenario having those two together for as long as we have. But they've put in some fine performances at times, and even like you say in the Burnley game, Emerson was probably the man of the match, and that's because not everybody else was really that great. So you had to just sort of look at the back line, and they were like, well, I guess they've actually been the best performers really on the day. And so that's what's been most impressive, is times when we've had really frustrating performances from the forwards or midfielders, and it's actually been, weirdly enough, Emerson and Davies that have been like kind of sometimes the better players on the pitch, which is just crazy to think, because you think they would be the ones that would be liabilities sort of in their position, but it actually hasn't been the case in certain games. So it's credit where credit's due, like you say.
Yeah, give a little credit to the guys who doesn't get credit. Gotta do that.
Look forward to you wearing the Van de Ven shirt. Again, you get to whip that out. Now he gets to see your man back. That'll feel good. I feel good.
Nice.
Alrighty. Well, great chat with you as always, Daniel, and I hope you have a good rest of your week. Man United, I like your attitude. Just expecting 3 points. They're terrible. I sort of feel the same way. I enjoy feasting on sort of their drama and their kind of fiasco. So I hope that we give them more stuff to talk about after we give them a good walloping. So see you soon, Daniel. Have a good week, man.
Thank you, you too. Take care and come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Have a good night.
Yes. Bye-bye.
See ya. Big up to Daniel Larson, our man out in Norway. And just like Michael's, probably quite cold, I imagined, this time of year. But he did say, actually, he reminded me, it's not that bad this week. It's going to get a little bit colder next week. Just from earlier, apologies about this, Roy. I'm just in the middle of a conversation. And like I said, sort of distracted by all the transfer news and everything going about. But really do appreciate your support for the 11 months. Sorry again for getting to this late. And he says 12 Timo goals. Just wait and see. Timo, I'm looking forward to the impact because I think he's just a funny one in that we all sort of have seen him play before and there's just minds already made up. It feels like kind of with him, like there's not really even gotten close to even getting near a football yet. And people have already made their mind up about how it's going to go. And I'm just excited to see who he proves right, who he proves wrong. And I think he could end up being a pretty useful and a pretty clever signing for Spurs, but we will wait and see. And 12 Timo goals, if he was going to get anywhere even near 10 towards with how, I mean, we're already past the halfway point, if I'm not mistaken, or at least at the halfway point. So if he were to get anywhere close to 10, that would be very impressive. Big up to you, Roy. Really do appreciate the support for the 11 months, my friend. And then Brandon Troller, big up to you, Brandon, saying, I like turtles, especially that one sea turtle from Finding Nemo, but I don't like Levy. He's what happens when Dr. Evil mates with a sea turtle. No, Brandon, sounds like you're not too confident about the Dragusin deal getting over the line, and Spurs are acting in true Spurs fashion, I think, in a lot of people's eyes when it comes to this transfer. I'm going to be delusional enough, Brandon. I'm going to sort of put my faith in Spurs getting this deal over the line. And even if they don't get Dragusin over the line, I think they have another center back lined up in some sort of regard. I mean, the fact that we got rid of Ashley Phillips and look to be getting rid of Eric Dyer means that we are getting a center back in. I understand people want it in for the Man United game. Maybe Van de Ven and Emerson should be good enough probably for that game, but I could see why we just want to get him in as soon as possible. And it's been weirdly dragging. I think we had the deal pretty much sealed. It felt like pretty early on in January, but for some reason or another, I think more so on the players' end and on the agents' end, this deal hasn't really gotten done. And I just hope we get it done soon because it looks like Bayern are pretty much ready to steal him away from us if they haven't already. And people are sort of suggesting in the chat that Bayern have pretty much taken him from us, but I haven't seen any sort of updates from the various sort of Twitter kind of news aggregator sources yet. But everybody let us know, your thoughts on the situation with Dragusin. But big up, Brandon. Really do appreciate your support for the 10 months, my man. And I'm sorry that Levy has to put you through this, but it's just sort of how Spurs seem to like to operate. They like to really upset people and they like to really annoy people over the transfer windows and not make it as easy as maybe some people think it should be. Weird Sly saying, Jack and Co. Sorry, I have some internet problem. No problem, Weird Sly. Looks like you're back in here. I think we're just going to give it a go, my friend. We're just going to give it a go. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, we'll try it again the other time and maybe we can work something out with you. But no problem at all. We're going to keep this rolling, though, everybody. And I think our next guest of the evening is the one and only KPV. Let's talk to KPV. Then we have Adrian afterwards. Then We're Sly. Then the one and only Ribsy85. Feel free, anybody else that wants to tag in at the end there. But I will start maybe thinking about taking down the link sometime soon. So sorry, microphone probably disconnected for a second there. Unplugged it. But yeah, everybody, if you do want to come in, hit the link now. Would be excellent service to me just to let me know how many people are left. But we are going to keep this moving. Let's head on over to KPV, see what he has to say. What's up, KPV?
What's up? Just chilling and watching Middlesbrough beat the Blues 1-0. And I know someone will be happy with that. Gascoigne played for Middlesbrough, so he will be happy. And yeah, so watching that. And I was out on Friday. I missed the first half of the Tottenham game. I was out with dinner with my mates, but I managed to watch a bit of it on my phone while I was out. And yeah, 0-0 half time, not that great, but second half, dug deep, came out and he only scores bangers as he did in April against United. Pedro Zorro, as I call him. Zorro, a name for expressions, but Pedro Porro only scores bangers. Sonaldo does as well, but Porro is going to score against United. And yeah, the last person to score home and away against United was Clint Dempsey under AVB. And yeah, that was when we had him. He only spent one season, couldn't get top four, but we still managed to take 4 points off United that time. So Alex couldn't beat us in his final season, and we took 4 points off him. So, but at least we done them a favour by beating City, and United won the league on Monday. So should be thanking us, Sir Alex. But yeah, great manager of all time. But yeah, another banger for Paul on Sunday against United, and then it's then we'll go above Arsenal because they don't play till next weekend, not this weekend. So we
Mm.
go above Arsenal this weekend, and Man United.
Why did they get a break this weekend? What's up with that, KPV?
I don't know, mate. It's because they were involved in the FA Cup, weren't it? And this weekend just gone, ain't it? They were
Mm.
involved in the FA Cup, so this weekend they don't. They play on the 20th, which is next weekend. So
Okay.
they don't play. So but and so we're gonna beat Man U at Old Trafford because yeah, they were poor yesterday. I'm sorry, they were poor. Like Rashford, Bruno, like how was that a penalty? It was not a pen. Like clearly the referee didn't do his job properly, and so I don't know how that was a penalty for Man United, but yeah, Onana's getting slapped up again for third time. He's getting beaten. We beat him when he was at Ajax, and we beat him already in August early in the season. So 3 times the charm he's getting beat. He only beat us once. That was the first leg in the Champions League semi-final. And
We know how to score
yeah,
goals past him, KPV. How many we scored past him? Threes,
6
fours?
we're going to win 6-1 again because we've beaten them. We've won at Old Trafford 4 times, so we're now able to win there 4 times. So, but 2020 was the last time we won there 6-1. That Kane and Son combination assisting, and Aurier and Ndombele scored. So Kane and Son got 2, Aurier and Ndombele. So and Martial got sent off for hitting Lamela in the face. And yeah, we won 6-1. Ole should have been sacked after the game because he bought the Europa League final then. But Ole, yeah, get Ten Hag out of the club for Man United because he's not right. And this will be his last game, I'm sure. So
Is he Ole 2.0? Said someone in the chat.
Ole
Eric Ten Hag.
2.0, yeah, Ole 2.0. So yeah, he's getting beat on Sunday, and yeah, like Turbo Werner is going to score because when he was at Chelsea, they never won. They drawn 4 times when he was there. Lampard, Tuchel, they drew in the same season they won the Champions League. So Werner's not beating them, but that changes. And I don't know when we done a double over United. Can someone check when was the last time we done a double over them? Not in the league, but it
Yeah,
must have
even
been in
I've
the
trumped you on that one, KPV, and you're usually our quiz mastermind on
when
Spurs,
we
but
did
even
double
I
over
don't know the last
United.
time we've done it.
We I don't know, but Man U, you're getting slapped up on Sunday, and Man City at home. I'm happy because I'm gonna try and get a ticket for it, and they're happy that Son's not playing them City fans, but do they know they've got 2 people that always seem to score? That is Decky and Lo Celso. So not just Son, but yeah, we're gonna beat them and do it for Terry Venables because he was the last manager of us to win the FA Cup. So Gary Mabbott, cheers for the draw, mate. And let's beat Man U and Man City in the space of a few weeks. So Manchester City, we have your number. Like we have
How
they're
worried is
bogey
Pep
teams.
about that fixture? Is it their cup final, KPV?
It's their cup final because they can't beat us. Like at least we managed to stop them from beating us in 2 times in 2023. We lost 4-2 last season, and I don't know why we played them twice in 2023. We're meant to play them 2022, but the Queen passed away, so we had to wait till 2023. But Kane was the last player to score at home against City, and he broke the record. So, but yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
beat them at our home ground again. And who else can score? Richarlison, the form he's in, he's on fire, but Poro's starting to find himself some form. And Bentancur will probably score as well because he hasn't scored since that Leicester game last season away, when home and away against Leicester. So Bentancur, hopefully, he can get on a score sheet. So
maybe Poro will score against Man City because they've been interested in him, as have Real Madrid. I think they've been jealous of our Pedro Poro.
Poro, he was at City, but
Former
didn't
club.
get in the team. Yeah, he didn't get in the team at City, so they sold him to Lisbon, who we played twice in the Champions League last season, and I think he done pretty well against us both games. But as I've said many times, we were robbed in that home game. It came off a Lisbon player, and the referee, someone has it as their profile picture on Twitter. Offside? No, it wasn't. It wasn't offside, you dumbass. So we're going to shake his hand. Good decision, and that referee needs to be paid, needs to be sacked because VAR needs to be gone. It's ruining the game and has to go. So get rid of it. But
Are you
there ain't
glad
gonna
that in
be.
the FA Cup? Actually, what do you make of the fact that in the FA Cup some games are VAR and some of them aren't?
Don't really like it, to be honest. Like
No.
we're at home, so hopefully it's not. But if they concede a penalty, then hopefully it'll go in our favour because we've not conceded a goal at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium against City. But Vicario needs to say, "Yo, someone get the phone! Someone phone!" Like if we concede one, then Vicario has to save a pen because Lloris has done against City many times, saving a penalty. When Aguero was at City Champions League, we conceded it, and he had a good record of saving penalties. He saved one from Vardy, Wembley, Aubameyang at Wembley, and then Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Aguero and Gundogan. And when we beat them 2-0 on Harry Winks' birthday, February 2020, and Zinchenko got sent off, and Bergwijn scored on his debut. Stevie Wonder, the Dutchman, Steven
That's right.
Bergwijn, and he scored. And then Son always seems to score, but
Mm.
I think he's got more goals. But City, we're just their bogey team, and they used to be our bogey team because they beat us at the old White Hart Lane a few times under Mancini and Pellegrini. They beat us,
hmm
and Newcastle were a bogey team as well. They always seem to beat us at the old White Hart Lane, but I don't like Newcastle because they always beat us. They did. They had Tim Krul when we lost 1-0 when City
We
won
gave
that.
them a good lesson though last time, Newcastle. So let's hope that we do it again. They
We
look to be
did,
struggling
and
a little bit
we
too.
beat
So
them. And I don't know why Richarlison's not been nominated for Player of the Month in December because Son's been the only one that's been nominated, not Richie, because he's got more goals in December than anyone else. And Son's got 4 goals and a few assists. And Vicario's been nominated for Save of the Month for December. So let's hope he can win Save of the Month because he's not won it. And let's hope he can win it. And Son will probably win Player of the Month again because he's won it a few times. So if he wins, then good. But it's a Tottenham thing. So Ange won Manager of the Month 3 times. Madison and Son have won it. So and
just keep
goal
giving it to Son. I'll be all right with that. KPV.
Son will be all right. But he's. Hopefully it'll be him winning it, no one else. But I like Trent. I think he's good. But I'll go with Son. I think just Son is good. Yeah. So hopefully Son wins and Vicario saved a month then. Yeah, but not a good December for us. We lost to West Ham and that. So, but hopefully, those 2 win. But bring on United and then a few
All
other
right.
games in C. So we're gonna win. And Werner said he's here to win titles, so we can still win the league. We're only 6 points off the top, but we'll go above
Is,
Arsenal on Sunday, so we can
is
still win
Timo
it.
letting the dogs out against Man United?
Yeah, Turbo Werner's letting the dogs out, and so I'm gonna go 6-1 Tottenham again at Old Trafford, and
Love it.
love it. So United. Oh, what a chance! Chelsea missed. Gallagher. Ha ha! Losers. Good job, Poch. Ain't lasted long. Come on, Middlesbrough, and that is it. I'm off, people. So I'll see
Big
you all
up,
for the
big
next
up.
fan show. In Ange we trust, and we never stop.
We never stop. Big up, KPB. Enjoy the rest of the Chelsea Borough game.
Yeah.
See you, my man. Have a good night. Big up to KPB, absolute legend, and kind of jealous that he just gets to watch the Chelsea game and the Borough game while this is going on. I'd love to see them. Perhaps if this result stays the same, I'd love to see the Chelsea cheers afterwards. And definitely, I would say I'm going to be listening to some Talk Sport tonight if they do. If they do end up losing to Borough, because really they are under pressure for sure. Chelsea at this moment in time, but we're going to keep this fan show rolling over here as best we can. Looks like we have the one and only Adrian Brown up next, and going to see what he's maybe thought while he's on his various bus rides thinking about Tottenham. What's up, Adrian?
Yes. Hello, big up all. I hope everybody's all right and enjoying their new year so far. Yeah, I've been having ups and downs in the bus, but we won't go into that at the moment.
Okay, sorry to hear
right. That's all right. It's great. I mean, it's, that's what bus drivers are all about, isn't it? But
yeah,
I'm getting some good
chaotic.
feedback from people. Yeah. Feedback from passengers, it's been a bit of a mixed match when it comes to Tottenham talk and that. But we all seem to be a bit positive and everything.
Do you have any feedback
Right,
towards Daniel Levy? That seems to be the theme right now, as on this Dragusin deal. Daniel Levy's once again
well,
in everybody's mouths.
he's
What
a
do you make of this
businessman
whole
at the end of the
situation?
day.
Whose fault is it?
He's a businessman at the end of the day. So, I can't believe you can't just go in there with a great big bid for somebody. He knows how to sort of play the game, and that's what he is. And that's why sometimes he does come out with some good deals. I'm not defending Levy whatsoever. It's so annoying. We all get frustrated when it's not coming so close to the mark and everything. But just been reading it up over with the deal with the player. I mean, obviously the only difference is they're going to be paying cash the full amount, and we're offering Jed Spence and 25 million and 5 million add-ons and everything. And to be honest, I feel almost confident that it's going to come to Tottenham in a way. So
yeah,
I mean, it's his choice. It's not the club's choice. So it's going to be his decision to come over if he does make that decision, and I think he will. I mean, he's got friends here in Kaliski with all the Juventus ex-players, so they've all grown up to in their team. So yeah, I've got a very strong feeling we're going to do. He's going to do it. I just got this sense that he's going to choose us over Bayern. And the other thing is play time. He's not going to get the play time. I've been seeing on the social media, especially within the Bayern Munich socials, they're all moaning about him coming over. They don't need that type of player within their team at the moment. They've got too many of there in that position. So really, he's not going to get the time on playing. And if you're a footballer, what are you going to do? You want the time on the pitch. And apparently, he refused to go to another football team because they weren't going to give him first team football. So I do think it will come down to the fact that he'll get more play time at Tottenham than he will do at Bayern Munich. So I'm pretty confident on that.
It is funny to see Bayern fans complaining about it, whereas Spurs fans are clearly so desperate, for it to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Worlds right now. One fan base doesn't want him and are likely to get him, and the other one is worried about not getting him, and they seem desperate for him. So,
I mean, and how it's all been rushed through Bayern Munich and all their last minute bids and everything. I don't, it just, stinks off a little bit of what we had to do to them in the summer transfer with Kane. I think it's payback time a little bit. Though, it's they know we could pay for him, and obviously they're putting the money in. They know we need a centre back, so I think it's a little bit of rich man's playing, shall we say, in the two clubs. I know the two chairmans have been, amicable, but playing with each other, if you know what I mean. So in the background, boardroom tactics and politics and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty confident we'll get Dragusin. And Wagner, I'm happy with Wagner coming over. I think Ange will get a lot out of him. I think we might have got him at a point now where if Ange can get that focus in him when playing the football, I think he could, exceed very well here.
I think he could be very clever signing. If you look 6 months from now, it might look like a very clever signing actually by Spurs if he starts banging in the goals and any sort of regularity. And you look at Werner's numbers, like you sort of have to throw your mind back to at one stage or another, he really was one of the better strikers around Europe. Like the guy was scoring a lot and at a very regular rate. Even if you total up all of his games played and all of his goals and assists, I think now he gets like a goal contribution every other game. I think if you look at sort of his rate. So obviously there's a player there. And it's just maybe since the Chelsea move and since going back to Leipzig, yeah, just things he's not been at the same player that he once was. But I don't know, 26, 27, can he still tap into his old self at 26 or 27?
Yeah, I do. I mean, there's some players that bloom late in their careers, and
He bloomed early, and now it's like, can he bloom again?
yeah, you can. Yeah, but I mean, everybody has a dip every now and again, don't they? They have their highs and they have their lows, and hopefully we'll have another high with him. He's going to. I just feel it's just something. Again, it's just a feeling. It's just a hunch. That he'll do well in this season, and especially on the second half. But we'll have to keep that Spurs type reserve that we all have, and I think that's what's going on tonight. We all have that, just in case if it just doesn't go our way. We've got to have that slight little negativity, but I'm pretty certain that we're going to do it. And he's Werner will do well within our team for the next. And I think, again, and it'll be good because it'll give more rotation within the team as well. A little bit, with our players going, dropping like flies sometimes, especially with hamstrings. An extra striker, we need a striker.
Yeah.
Especially with Richie, even though he's doing good, I have to praise him. He's doing a lot better than has been with 5 goals in 5 games. That's a good, aspects of it all. So we have to give him a thumbs up and praise him on that. But we need to have something in the background to, just have as a backup sort of thing. Yeah,
And he's different to Richarlison as well, right? Where he's gonna offer something different either through the middle or someplace else in the front three. And he's a goal scorer, right? That's what he's probably being brought in to do. And he's not like just a winger that's there to create chances.
Sure. I mean, he's going to be like Son, basically. Well, he's Son in his position in some ways. So it'll be interesting how Ange deals with it, and if if we have to pull Richarlison off, if they go put it in, that'll be interesting to watch. Just seeing how he'll juggle the fronts a little bit, depending on suiting their needs and everything. So hopefully we'll do well. Well, saying that, let's go on to the FA Cup draws.
What was your reaction to Man City?
Yeah, well, when I woke up this morning, I went, oh shite sort of thing scenario. But then I thought, well, hang on, it's not too bad. I think we should got to be take again. It's our Spurs sort of doubt or reserve we have. It's I just thought it over and I thought it's not too bad. I mean, I might be wrong, but I think ever since we played Manchester City at home, we have never lost to them. I might be wrong. I can't think of that.
I
you
think
might
you're
know,
correct.
Jack. Right. So we never lost at home. So we've got a good record there. And we've played a few times there. I think 3 or 4 times they've played with us in our new ground. So that's a good positive for us. Now, we are starting to get the injured players back again. VDV was actually in the subs, if I remember rightly, in our last game. So He's obviously coming back onto the field soon. And let's not forget Madison's near the time that is coming up. So, and if we could get if we can get the new 2 signings in, then I think we've got a very good hope to actually do well on that day, because it'll show a bit more positively. I mean, if we could get Madison in, I think that will boost the whole game to a positive side, and I think that he'll take over, like from Son as the captain, being as the reserve captain, he'll get the team going again, especially with his moves and everything. It'll give a little bit of energy. I think that's what's been lacking over the last few games, is the energy in the middle. Sometimes I find it's just a bit slow at the moment, which is fair enough. I mean, it's halfway through the season. People are tired and hamstrings are going like left, right, and centre. So maybe there's some precautions going on there. But yeah, I think it'll come positive for us if we can get if that scenario works out for us. But it's coming. We've got to have that reserve a bit. But I'm still positive to the fact that we're going to get in the top 4, and I'm still dreaming for a league title. I don't think we're totally out of that. I mean, we're 3 points behind. I mean, come on. I mean, we had 10 games win in a row. We've had a dip for sure, but the other teams haven't been, they've been sort of having their dips as well. So we're only 3 points away with it. And I think if we can get our injuries back a little bit more, and if they can be covered, especially with Madison, obviously the internationals, we can get the internationals back, because obviously with Son, Bazuma and Sarr off out of the way at the moment. I think we've got a very good chance, and I think we should have that little bit more positivity, if you know what I mean. So
happy clapper for a reason. I'm always with that, a bit more positivity. But on to maybe a reason to get some positivity again would be Manchester United, the other Manchester team. How do you feel coming up against them? Are they? I think I kind of agree with Daniel earlier. I'm like, maybe expecting 3 points sounds crazy, but not that crazy. Maybe we should be expecting 3 points.
I think the way they're having internal fighting within that club at the moment is not great. I mean, especially with Hag and these players.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a great environment for players. So
no.
I think, I think I think we are going to get the 3 points. I'm pretty positive about that. I'll go 2-0, shall we say? Maybe 3. Hopefully, we need the goals. So I like to get the chaps to, getting them goals in, because we need, I think this is going to really go down to goal differences near the end of the season. So we need to concentrate on getting the goal differences up if we can. This is why it's so important that we start now, then, rather than doing it at the last moment. But yeah, I'm confident we'll get there. We'll definitely get there.
I like it. I like it. Ten Hag, I agree. And just for the Man United right now, it's not the right place to be for a player. And I just see them either, resurging around him or turning against him. It feels like it's at that sort of climax point right now. And you could see it being a game like Tottenham being, I don't know, it could be a chance where they start tearing each other apart, and then eventually he gets the sack. Also, doing the double over Man United would just be that. Maybe I've only been a Spurs fan so long, but still, like, I can't remember the last time we've ever done the double over Man United. That would feel terrific. It really would. Like, I would celebrate that. Again, maybe being a happy clapper here, but celebrate that really, like, fully. I would really enjoy to say that at the end of the season we could have done the double over Man United. It's just one of those crazy things that you had told me 10, 15 years ago as a Spurs fan, I would have laughed in your face. Like, that's just an amazing thing to be able to do. So what a world we live in now that Man United are actually a team that we can now expect to pick up 3 points against at Old Trafford as well. So huge game.
It is a huge game. And I think with Manchester United, we'll get there. I can't remember. We're playing in their hometown. It's away
Yeah,
day
they
for
came to
us.
us last time and we beat them. So we're gonna have to go to there.
So yes, yeah, I think it'll be nice if we can get that victory in their grounds. So I'm
I
looking
like it.
forward to it. So. Yeah, and the games at the moment are, not so close now, so they've had a little bit of rest, so that should come into account for it. So, especially after all that Christmas sort of football, 2 days, 3 days in between, it's not good for players. But now they've got a little bit of rest, and I'm sure they'll go out there and show a little bit more energy in the midfield, and show that we can do it. And if we can do it with a good style with Manchester United, then I'll be a very happy man that day.
Let's do it. Let's make ourselves some happy men this weekend,
Yeah,
Adrian. That's all the questions I have lined up for you, unless you had an extra
yeah,
topic that
yeah.
you wanted to discuss.
No. I just want to let you know. I want to make sure that everybody knows that I never keep passengers in my bus overnight. Okay, there never is a passenger in the bus overnight. Just to let you know.
And anytime the Spurs game is on, we know that you pull the bus over and you force them all to get off. That's a
No, it was just a break. If I have a break, I have a break. It's
nice.
drivers' rules and regulations that we have. So it was
Nice.
just a break at the time. But
Spurs are a good
yeah,
break.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of British people will understand that joke, because over here, if you have tradespeople, it's about leaving tools overnight in vehicles. Well, I don't leave passengers in my vehicle overnight. So everybody could be safe. They all get home. They all get home safely.
They're very good of you, Adrian. Very nice of you to do so.
No probs.
Thanks for coming on, man. Thanks for keeping me company, and great chat as
No
always.
probs.
See you for the next
Happy
one.
New Year, everyone.
Happy New
And let's
Year.
be positive this season. All right. Okay.
Have
All
a
the
good
best
one,
now.
Adrian. Have a good night, my man. See ya. Big up to Adrian Brown, everybody, and a great chat with him as always. Our lovely man. I believe he's out in North London, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe he can let me know if he's still listening in the private chat, if I have that right. Big up to Adrian Brown. Lovely to chat with him. And we're going to keep this moving. I think we're going to be talking to We're a Sly next, and then it's going to be Ribsy85. And after that, perhaps Tyler, if you're listening, Tyler, I know you might have the link. You can come on as well, my man. I did send you over the link. Phone is actually, just as I was doing it, might have died as I was sending it to you. So I can't do it any time after that, because I think the WhatsApp is no longer on the computer. So hopefully the link got to your way, Tyler. But I think we have We're Sly next, and we'll see how it goes with the internet, because maybe the internet's not doing too well, maybe on his end. But I hope we get to have a good chat. We're Sly, are you going camera on, camera off? Okay, I'm going to bring you in, camera off, and see if that works. But here, I'm going to look at the private chat. Camera off first. No worries. What's up, Weira?
Hello, Jack. Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I've got a kind of a problem internet here.
No, that's no problem at all, Weira. And it's good to have you on. I'm not sure if this is your debut, but it's good to have a chat with you. How are you feeling? And it's a transfer window time, right? Timo Werner, he's been announced tonight. How do you feel about Turbo Timo?
First, but I want to say thank you to you first, because I'm pretty sure that I've got this gifted membership from you in the Bournemouth game, I think.
No problem. You're very welcome. Love to have new people come on.
I've been a member for a couple months before, but last season is pretty hard to watch and follow Spurs, to be honest. After Conte gets sacked, I just like cut off from Spurs pretty
I
short
don't
last
blame you.
season. So
I don't blame you.
come
This
back.
is the year for sure. This is the year for sure. And thanks for coming on. Thanks for taking advantage of the membership, and really do appreciate you supporting the channel in an extra way. How do you feel about the transfers coming in? Timo Werner, and also as well Dragusin.
It's not a really good time to talk about transfers, right? About Dragusin especially, because I think with center back situation, it's kind of pretty a joke, right? Because Davis got injury, we loan out our young center back. Romero still have an injury, I think.
Yep.
Van de Ven come back, but just for 1 week on the bench, and how can you not sign a center back? It's pretty funny for me.
You think
I
we should have
mean,
one already?
yeah, I think it's kind of upset for the fans, and the fans have a right to upset with the situation. But it's not about the player. It's more about we have to prevent this situation with signing someone fast, because I think
Yeah.
in the United game tomorrow we need new center back, and maybe we can talk about United game first, because I don't see the game United versus Wigan, but
hmm
I've seen lineup, and it's a pretty weird feeling for me, because I think I'm not scary at all with their lineup, to be honest. It's pretty
Yeah.
weird feeling for me. I feel like no excuses right now. We have to win and get the 3 points
hmm
next game. I think.
I'm with you. I think Man United are actually for the taking at this moment in time, and I don't know when this the next time we can say that we could do the double over Man United in a season. It feels like a great chance, a great opportunity. I even cherished, 10 years ago, probably any win over Man United. I even still remember one of the games where we had beaten them with a Gareth Bale terrific run past Rio Ferdinand, hit it in with his right. Still one of my favorite goals actually growing up as a Spurs fan. It's just one of those games that yeah, it's maybe even when they're not playing as well recently, it's still Man United. It's still a big head, and it's fun to watch them in misery. So I'd love to see that happen. And the way Spurs have been playing and the way Man United have been playing, you would think that Spurs are probably the favorites going into this. So let's take
Yeah,
advantage of that. Completely agree.
yeah, yeah.
Do you feel
Because
okay with Emerson? And yeah, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
because the past few years, I still think they are still a big scary team, and we've
Yeah.
got some, you know, I think they gonna hurt us in some position or some play, but this time McTominay in the midfield, eh, and young midfielder. I know he's good, but he's still young. Onana
hmm
on the goalkeeper. Hoyland still struggling to score. I just think the way we play with, I hope a new center back for sure. But Emerson, Van de Ven, Bentancur, Poro against Rashford. Rashford been poor this season. Poro, it's been a shout for the best right back in the Premier League this season, and it's
Yeah.
kind of funny if you
No,
think about it. That
it's a great matchup
Rashford
indeed.
is still good. Rashford is still can hurt us, but it's kind of tragic if we get 2 goals, 3 goals again, one of the best right back in the Premier League right now, because I believe that. So it's kind of it's kind of positive for me against United. We have to win,
Yeah.
and we get rest for 2 weeks and got the FA Cup fixtures against Man City.
Yeah. No, I feel like I would love to have a win this weekend, and I do feel like we match up well in a lot of different positions, across the pitch. I really agree with you there. When it comes to also the other draw, Man City, that you just mentioned there, do you feel confident at all? Do you feel maybe pretty optimistic because we have a good record against them? How do you feel about Man City in the cup? I mean, they are still Man City, though.
It's bad draw, to be honest, but I think this club this season needs a cup run. Very needed a cup run, because we still 6 points from the league, from top of the league,
hmm
and something can happen. But in the mentality things, I think it's I would say the voodoo things that City cannot win against us in the home game in our stadium. So I just want to keep it going, keep it strong, win the FA Cup game, give something to the fans. Looking
Yeah.
forward for this
Yeah.
season, because I just imagine a bad thing if we didn't have a cup run after the pretty disappointing one to be honest, in the Carabao Cup.
Yeah. And you said last season you felt like it was really hard to, keep following Spurs because of how poor we were, probably the style of football as well. Do you feel like under Ange Postecoglou, have you sort of fallen back in love with Spurs? Do you feel like you feel a lot more passionate about Spurs this season?
Oh yeah. I mean, the time I feel hard to following Spurs, I think after Conte got sacked because I
Yeah.
don't know what's manager Ken Saga. I don't know really. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's not about the playing style, but I don't know how we sign two top managers, but still don't have a consistent things. But for
Hmm.
sure, Ange Postecoglou is more sweet the Spurs way. The play style, I think, taking risk, uh, positive football.
Yeah.
It's a good thing, but sometimes you know it's still we need personnel for helping him to play the Ange way because we still conceding a few big chances, I think, in some
Yeah.
games. And to
Yeah.
be honest, after Newcastle games, I think the performance kind of up and down. It's kind of worrying to be honest. But Ange is really sweet, the kind of perfect fit for the Spurs way right now.
I know what you mean. Do you feel like in the case of Ange, like you said, he needs to be backed with the right players, so he needs probably that center back, as soon as possible. Do you think Spurs can sign a center back before Friday? Do you expect Spurs to sign a center back before Friday, or do you think we'll for some reason, still delay it?
It's bad if we don't sign a center back, but I feel I give the directional things of mine as a Spurs fan, and let's see if we get the result again United and sign center back because uh, to be honest, we have to sign center back before, but if we didn't get it, let's get after United. I don't care. We have to sign the Ange player. It's the must one
Hmm.
backing Ange.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
It's
know.
important to back Ange, and the way we do that is through the transfers and through the transfer market. Where I completely agree with you. I think I've just about gone through all the questions that I usually have for everybody. Do you have anything else that's on your mind? I also was going to ask you who your favorite Spurs player is. Maybe right now in the team. But do you have any other sort of topics you want to get through before I let you go?
Uh, let's hope Werner settle in this first team. I don't have anything bad or good about him, but let's
Neutral.
all hope he doing well in this
Yeah.
system.
Yeah.
He perfect time to sign him to replace Son. I think in this kind of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much, I guess. But lastly, I want to say thank you to you and all the chats, all the Spurs fan here. And yeah, we have to win against United. I'm pretty sure of that.
Let's win. It's good to have you with us. We really appreciate your support for the channel. Thanks for being in the chat, and thanks for coming on and take advantage of the fan show. Really, because so many people that, for whatever reason or another, it doesn't really work with their schedule. Sometimes it can be a bit intimidating to come on here and have a chat in front of people
It's
and
kind
things
of
like that. But
intimidating,
well
though.
done.
It's kind of intimidating.
Yeah, and you believe me, it gets easier and easier, and a lot of people like I know Tyler's in there, Brad Matthews from earlier. So many people, they do make it look very easy, but yeah, it can be intimidating. But I trust that believe Dave and I do not bite, and we just want to have
I'm kidding. I'm
chats
kidding.
with you, and
You guys
we
are good
we
guys.
just like
Thank you.
talking about Spurs. So well done to you, my man. Before I let you go,
Yeah.
who's your favorite player in the team right now? Who's your favorite player?
simple answer, Vicario.
Vicario.
Yeah,
Very
I
nice.
think he changed so much this in fate of the team this season because he's so consistently good this season. Vicario.
Yeah. I'm loving Big Vic. He's really becoming probably one of my favorite players as well, actually, in this team. I think that's a great answer. Any answer is the right answer, but believe me, that's a great answer with Vicario. He's an absolute crack. Love that guy. Well, Weira, I hope you have a good rest of your evening or morning or whatever it might be. But really, again, appreciate you coming on and taking advantage. And I hope to see you again soon for the next one.
Thank you. Yo,
All right.
thank you. Yep.
Have a good one. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Well done, Weira. See ya. Big up to Weira Sly, everybody. Know that name in the chat very well. I see him in the chat lots of times. So it's nice to see him have a chat with us, and hope to see him for the next one, whenever that will be. But big up to Weira Sly. And everybody, I think we're going to keep this moving. Might be the last guest of the evening, unless Tyler, you still have a plan on coming on here at some stage, but this could be the last guest of the evening. We're going to leave it off with Ribsy85. Good guy to end off with, good closer to have. And we're going to see what he has to say, what's on his mind, and maybe he can give some answers to us. Oh, looks like Tyler popped in, but Tyler, I think, will be the last guest of the evening for today here, everybody. But really do appreciate you all for coming on, having your say. Smash the like button for us if you can. But yeah, let's go over to Ribsy85, see what he has to say. What's up, Ribsy? Oh. For some reason, there's some weird audio thing going on. Come on. Talking again, Ribsy. For some reason, there was some weird. Is it me? Not sure if other people can hear that, but there might be a weird sort of audio thing going on. I can try to put in headphones. Give me a second. Yeah, I can't hear you at all. Try again. Testing 1, 2. I don't know. For some reason, that's weird. I'm gonna go with Tyler, and then we'll see if we can figure out later. So maybe we'll end with you. I'll go with Tyler next. But for some reason, it sounds like some wave is crashing or something like that. I'm not sure how to describe it. We'll get to you later. All right, Tyler. Are you ready, Tyler? Can you have a chat? There he is. What's up, Big T?
How you doing, Jack?
Doing all right, my man. And was that the same for you as it was for me? The Ribsies?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure it wasn't me on my
Yeah,
end.
there was a windstorm inside his home or something. That was bad.
Maybe it's all the pressure it's on Levy has finally reached his place in Australia. It's a big wave of storm. It's a big wind. Not a bad place to start, I guess, Tyler, right? Dragusin, Daniel Levy, people feeling like Spurs dragging their heels, and it's just kind of the same old when it comes to the transfer window. How do you feel about this one with Dragusin? And do you see him going to Bayern? Like, do you think we fumbled it?
Yeah, it's like it's just weird all together. Like how long it's taken. Like it's just the usual stuff, but I don't know. Something isn't adding up. I don't know. I think Todibo was our initial first target, but he ended up they wanted too much if he was going to leave this window.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, like me and a lot of people, we've never even heard of Dragusin before. I've seen him play. I'd seen him play like maybe once, just because I like to watch the Americans, and you got Weston McKennie over there in Juventus, and Pulisic and Musa in Milan. So I think I seen when Milan played them earlier in the season, but nothing particularly stood out. He didn't have like a bad game, but end of the day, if he ends up choosing Bayern, then it wasn't meant to be. It's not the player we should have gotten, and he wouldn't be right for us. I think, with Ange and bringing in these players, they've got to be fully, locked in mentally to the grind, to getting Tottenham back to winning ways. And if their head's not fully in it, then I don't really want them here.
And could it be also the agent, as agents do, they're trying to look for also the best deal for them, because they do take a cut, of the transfers usually, and they get a big payday themselves when the players do make these moves. Maybe the agent is, pointing his own client's head, towards Bayern, because it's probably a better deal for maybe the agent too. And, the glamour of Bayern Munich is probably what he's trying to convince him of.
Yeah, it's 50-50 right now. I mean, if the player, like either way, he's not, I don't think he's going to break in to be a starter, whether it's for us or Bayern. But obviously, right now with the injuries, he's got a big chance to at least play some good minutes here in January, maybe February. And if he is really good, he could win that starting spot. You never know.
Mhm.
And with Bayern, I think maybe they have a little. I heard someone said that Upamecano has an injury, maybe, but there as well, it's not like he's going in to be the starter. But if he's cares more about maybe the money and popularity and them having Champions League and probably winning the league, even though Leverkusen's obviously got a really good chance this season as well. Maybe he chooses them. I think it's 50-50 right now. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Do you think he suits what we're kind of looking for in terms of a center back? He is very good in the air, right-footed. Has sort of I think a lot of athleticism in his game, where he is quite fast, long legs. Like, he sort of suits, maybe a bit of the mold of what we're going for. Do you think he's the right guy, or do you think maybe there are plenty of others out there, so you wouldn't be that torn up if we didn't get him?
The end of the day, I think there's obviously plenty of center backs that are of a higher quality, but
Hmm.
it is a decent price. I mean, maybe it's like 5 to 10 mil overpriced right now, but if that's the player you want, and Ange, thinks that he can come in and be a good player for us, I think you do spend the extra 5-10 mil.
Yeah,
But I definitely would like other center backs. So it's not the end of the world for me, but it does show. It is a little bit concerning that we're not spending that, or I don't know. But I don't know.
yeah.
Obviously, we don't know what reports are true and what reports aren't. So I don't want to. I'm not going to
No, I know
attack
what
Levy or anyone, but we'll see.
it. Pretty soon people will be. They're sharpening their knives and they're
Yeah.
sharpening their nails to to attack him sometime soon. Timo Werner, we did get that one over the line though. Are you nervous or are you confident about that one, or are you kind of neutral? I'm getting a lot of neutrals.
Yeah, I'm definitely neutral. At first, I think like a lot of people, they first, heard the name, they're like, "Oh God, we've seen this guy miss 100
Hmm.
tap-ins for Chelsea."
Hmm.
Um, Obviously, we have a sort of similar player in Richarlison. He does miss a lot of chances as well. Um, but I think Werner is a good footballer at the end of the day, and if he can get back to being a clinical player, hopefully he scores that first chance for us. You know. Gets his head right. I think he can be a good player for us with his speed, his work rate. I think will be good. Is it the player that we really need? Maybe not, but I think he is a better option as of right now than like a Werner, Valise. Obviously, Valise is injured now, but I think he
Yeah,
does bring a little bit more quality to our bench, especially with Johnson hasn't really, you know, been incredible yet for us. He's been a little bit disappointing as well. So we'll see
yeah.
what happens. I'm definitely neutral. I'm not, I'm definitely not like excited about it, but I'm not upset with it. I think it's kind of like a low risk, maybe high reward.
Yeah, it
But we'll
feels
see.
low risk, actually. I agree with you. And it could end
Yeah.
up being quite a clever signing if we get him anywhere close to where he was back at his best. Because at one stage or another, Tyler, before he had moved to Chelsea, he really was one of the better strikers around Europe when he looked at his numbers. And even despite his bad years at Chelsea, you still
Hmm.
total up like his goals and assists versus his games played. He nearly got a goal or an assist almost every other game. So the guy at one stage was banging him in and was practically one of the top output players around Europe. So if we can get
Yeah.
anywhere close to that player again, that would be terrific. Do you feel like though that was, maybe I sort of joked earlier, right? Maybe he bloomed, kind of in his younger, years
Yeah.
when he was around 21 through 24. And now he's 26, 27. I think he maybe soon to be 28. Could he be was that, his one good spell and now he's sort of back to mediocrity, or do you think he could bloom again?
Yeah. I mean, we see it. It happens with players. Like look at Dele Alli, for example. But I do think Werner is a good footballer, even though like he obviously missed crazy chances at Chelsea. Like the tap-ins he would miss were, I mean, almost every game, and the compilations you see are crazy, right? But he is a good player. He gets into good positions, and you know, if he gets half of what he would do with Leipzig back in the day, then that would be fantastic to bring in. But he's not. If we're no one should be looking at this like like this massive signing. He could replace like what Son does in January with Son being out, or replacing any bit of Kane's goals at all. It's not going to happen. But if he ends up being a good player, and his attitude's good, everyone in the training room, the players like him, the coaches like him. 15 mil, for a pretty good player, if you can, be a little more clinical, isn't too bad. But I would like us to definitely go for some more players.
Do you agree with me, though, that part of a problem recently has been that it feels like we are trying to score the easiest goal instead of just scoring, the goal that or the chance that's right in front of us? And Werner might be able to help with that problem. He's a striker at the end of the day. He might not be the guy that ends up laying it off to another player. He'll just take the chance. He'll just, shoot it on sight when he gets the opportunity. Whereas I think other players are a bit guilty of not shooting on sight when they get those chances.
Yeah, we're doing really well right now at like creating like as a whole, but like we can create to get into the final third and get around the box and the edge of the box, but it's that final ball, it's that final touch, it's that final shot that we're just not connecting with. So is his clinicalness going to be, that
Yeah.
good? I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully he can come in and finish some of these chances that, Richarlison's missing and Brennan Johnson's missing. But is it going to be more of the same? Like we're still going to, create these same chances, and Werner's going to add to that miss tally. I don't know. I would definitely I'm really hoping we bring in a midfielder, because I think Skip he's just not good enough at all. It's sad because I did have a little bit of hope for Skip, obviously after that Norwich loan, and he had a little bit of spell. Was it under
Yep.
Mourinho? That was pretty good. He looked like he could be a decent player in the future, but I, I mean, last season, be honest, Mason Conte and whoever that interim guy was, I forgot Conte's partner or whatever,
Stellini. Yeah.
Stellini. I will never understand how they would select Skip over Sarr. I mean,
Yeah.
they both performed well in that Milan game, but Sarr did carry him. Skip did his job though in that Milan game. But the
That's what
fact
I
that
find
Skip,
funny, though. I don't even think Skip was. I agree that Sarr carried him in that game, but
yeah,
like Skip wasn't that bad. Like last season, as bad as he is right now is maybe what I mean to say. It's like he didn't look
no,
as
he was
clueless as
bad
he was
last
now.
season, but nowhere near what he's doing this season. I mean,
I agree.
he's adding nothing. It makes no sense. And the fact that Ange is still picking him, like, it drives me insane. I love Ange, but why? Why do you keep picking him?
Is
It's
that the one
crazy.
in particular that you're most upset with when it comes to sort of substitutions? Is the fact that Skip kind of makes his way into the team, and does that mean you probably want a midfielder? Then I'm assuming this January or sometime soon.
Yeah, and I like Højbjerg, obviously, but I think I'm okay with selling him as well. But if we sell Højbjerg and keep Skip, and Skip
Yep.
is that still rotation player and starting here and there with injuries, I mean, it makes no sense. We're in a lot of trouble. We need to
Yeah,
bring in a midfielder,
I agree.
preferably a more defensive midfielder, because Madison will be coming back soon, and let's hope to God he can stay healthy. Because with him in the team, we're a 1,000 times better. Whether
Yeah,
Son's on the pitch or not, we need Madison to create these easy chances for our attackers, because the half chances aren't doing it. They're not being clinical enough on the half chances. We need the tap ins, and Madison will create that. So
I
at the
agree.
end of the day, that's the most important thing, getting Van de Ven and Madison back. And hopefully we bring in one or two more guys this window, and they can help create and help be more clinical and help, defensively, especially help the center backs out a little bit. Because even
Yeah.
recently, Emerson and Davies are having to, work their ass off, and they're playing
Yeah.
pretty well. I mean, I
How
still
long does
don't,
that last, though, right? I mean, that's the
yeah.
thing. It's like we're getting as much juice out of that combo as we can, or that pairing, but like it's unrealistic, I think, to expect them to be putting in as decent performances as they have been, on a consistent basis. Like surely one of them's going to have a bad game, or Davies is making a mistake. And I don't know, like it's hard for me to even get that mad at Davies or Emerson, because I think they've actually done a pretty good job, like for as long as they can, right? It's pretty unrealistic to expect them to put in good performance after good performance for multiple games, like in the way that they kind of have been. It's just crazy. So
yeah, with all our injuries, like especially defensively and with the midfield, you think, you would think our attackers would step up and our defenders would be the ones that are a little bit shaky. But as of right now, Emerson, Davies, Udogie, and Poro have been our best players recently. They've been like Poro probably man of the match, or Emerson last game. Davies had one man of the match probably. Udogie's been really good. So it is very concerning. None of the attackers stepped up. Obviously, Son made that. I really liked what Son had to say, hoping that trying to big up the players, get them to step up like he did when Kane left. I really like those comments from a captain. Hasn't worked yet, but it's only one game, so let's see what happens in the United game. Should be 3 points even without Son. I think we are the better team, and hopefully we can hold them off. Garnacho and Rashford, are good players though, and they could do some damage to Emerson and Davies. So let's see what happens, but I think it should be 3.
Yeah, you're expecting 3 points. It sounds like Daniel sort of was as well, because he just feels like Man United are actually that terrible that you should sort of be expecting 3 points, and I can sort of see that. So that's good to hear that some people are sort of in my boat when it comes to Man United, that weirdly enough, we could be going for the double and almost expecting to go for the double. And like you, Tyler, I imagine, similar to me, I mean, I can't remember a time in my lifetime where we've done the double over Man United. So that would feel terrific, really. And those are the small victories that I used to hope for when Spurs did not feel like this sort of team, right? Where, anything like that, I would have been absolutely over the moon with. Whereas now, sort of something that isn't even, probably the biggest achievement or the biggest moment we'll even have this season. It's just crazy how much football has changed and how much things have changed, especially at Spurs. Maybe a bit of perspective. But maybe last question for you, Man City, FA Cup draw. What are your thoughts on them?
Yeah, obviously right away, first initial reaction, like, come on, seriously, of all the teams, but at least we got it at home. Either way, we have we've hurt them, whether it's been home or away recently. It's gonna be tough. We won't have Son, right? We won't have Basuma, even though he struggled against City. Basuma does struggle against that press, so maybe that's not the end of the world. We won't have Sarr. That's gonna be the big one. Not having Sarr, to help defensively on that right side with Poro. We have stopped Jack Grealish in them and Doku in the last game, and Grealish last season. Emerson absolutely pocketed him. So hopefully more of the same of that. But I'm worried that I think we can hold them off for a while, but will we score against them? No clue. Hopefully, Werner's pace and Johnson's pace on the counter, we will be able to do some damage. We'll see what happens, but I'm definitely not writing it off. Like as soon as it happens, the top comment on Instagram on our page is it's over or whatever. We're out of the cup. Like, come on, guys, have a little bit of faith. Seriously. Like I don't get it, and you see the same thing on Man City's page actually. So both teams, both fan bases, both managers are probably a little bit nervous. It's going to be a really good game.
Well said, Tyler. Really well said there. I agree. I think should not think that we're going to automatically lose the game since we've been drawn with Man City. Surely not maybe the game or the team that you've been drawn with that you would expect us to win. But I mean, I don't know. I think Man City, rightfully so, are nervous because we've had such a great record against them in the past. And also Spurs are good this season. Like we are a good team. It's not just based off sort of fluke performances. Like in the past, it's just been plenty of times we've just had fluke performances where we've just played absolutely out of our skin against them. And despite being a bad team, we were able to, perform well above what we usually do against them. But this year we are a good team and we have a history of playing well against them. So, and even in our last game away from home, we put in a good performance against them. So just shows.
I mean, we beat these guys with Nuno and no Kane. I mean, if we beat them that season, this season should be a cakewalk even with the injuries. So
done.
you never know.
Well
And also, look, we have struggled against. It doesn't matter who we're playing in the cup. We have been god awful. So it's not like if we were to have been drawn with that Maidstone or whatever their name is, we probably would have struggled in that game as well. So let's just
I'm with you.
we're gonna have to beat City eventually, probably in this cup run. So if we beat them, that'll be great. Hopefully, we get an easier matchup after we beat them. But I'd love more than anything to play Liverpool in the final. I would love more than anything to get revenge for that Champions League final. I know it's not the same, but if we took down City and then took down Liverpool in the final, this cup run would be so magical. I'd do anything for it. I'd cut off a limb for it. I don't care. I want this trophy so bad.
I love it, Tyler. He's desperate, and it's good to see that again, pretty desperate by the looks of things. So hopefully he
I
doesn't
am.
have to resort to that sort of thing. But maybe at some stage, Spurs will deliver you that satisfaction. Well, Tyler, those are all my questions. So unless you had something else to bring up there, then do you have anything else? Maybe any sort of final topics before I let you go?
No, I think pretty much covered it all. I know you've had a long day so far on here. I'm sure. Obviously, it's
All
not
right.
that
Always have
late.
time for you, man. Always have
I
time
know
for you
it's
to
not
come on.
late over there yet, but I'm sure you're still getting a little tired. So I don't really have anything else to say either. So thanks a
No
lot,
problem,
Jack.
Big T.
Thanks for having me
Thank you,
on.
man. Always time for you, man. Always time for you. Hope you have a good rest of your evening. And I like that Miami jersey as well. Hopefully they keep up the
Thank you.
winning run as well. They seem to be turning things around even without Jimmy Butler. So yeah, big up to you, sir, and have a good rest of your week, my man. See you soon.
Cheers, Jack. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Tyler. Big up to the Big T, everybody. And we are going to end things off with Ribsy85. He is going to be the closer. I then said he wasn't going to be the closer. Now he is going to be the closer. And so here he is, one and only Ribsy. Hey, Ribsy, I think you're on mute.
How's the mic now?
Sounding
Any better?
good. Sounding
thank
good.
heavens for that. Yeah, it was a battle of the dueling noise cancelling software. So it was the StreamYard versus NVIDIA broadcast, and they were both combining to make that horrible noise. So apologies to everyone whose eardrums are now 10 years older.
It sort of sounded like what Twitter sort of looks like. If you could make a noise for what Twitter looks like right now when it comes to the transfer sagas and the Dragusin, that would be the noise that the Twitter would make, I think. If maybe that's
something
not a bad place to start.
or something.
Not a bad place to start then. Ribsy, Dragusin, Daniel Levy, transfer stalling, transfer dragging the feet. It's all stuff that you and I have had conversations about in the past. What do you feel about it this time?
Well, I mean, part of it's just funny. I mean, I was having a laugh with people in chat before saying, how could you turn down the option to loan the guy that nobody wants to coach at all as part of this deal? I mean, maybe they do. Maybe they could use him. Maybe he's fantastic. But you can't help but laugh at the idea of adding in things that seem like sensible people probably wouldn't consider a benefit, but it's just the add to the long list of memes on very hardball negotiation tactics that end in the detriment of our club as opposed to the any sort of positive. But then again, I mean, how often do we get a really good deal without sort of noticing that this sort of tactic has given us the advantage? On top of that, we don't really know what's going on in the background with the deal. I mean, it doesn't, at the end of the day, if the club has agreed, which it sounds like the club's agreed with what we've offered, so they're not too concerned with that. So, people saying, why don't we just front up the cash?
What do you make of that?
Exactly. Well, I mean, if the guy wants to play for Bayern in Germany and he would prefer to play there instead of Tottenham, I mean, what can you do? You can't mean, you could offer him a little bit.
Do you then want him if he's even in any way interested in going to Bayern? Do you then want him, or because some people are like, well, if his head is turned, I don't want him anyways. Some people sort of have that take.
Well, reading between the lines, I mean, the guy sold his image rights to a third party, right? So this seems like the kind of player who is quite hands off with his contracts and his management. He probably, with his internal dialogue with his manager, and look, you can imagine being the kind of player that's at Genoa and you've got two options. You've got Tottenham Hotspur and you've got Bayern. To him, he's probably like, those are both a massive step up from where I'm at the moment. No offense to Genoa.
Good point.
And he's probably like, I'm pretty happy with both of those. So you get me the best deal that you can get me. That's your job. So go out there and get me the best contract. So, I mean,
he might be twiddling his thumbs.
Exactly.
Sort of waiting. Yeah.
Well, that's it. I would, judging by the image rights thing and that, it just seems like he just lets that part of his career be managed by people he trusts. You know, whether he's right to do that or not is not really the point. But I mean, I can't. I'm not going to judge the guy if he shows up here or he shows up in Germany. I mean, that's a good step for his career in either direction. So I'd love to have him because we need him. But looking from his point of view, he can't really go wrong either way, I don't think.
It's pretty funny to see Bayern fans complaining about the signing that hasn't happened yet, where like they're sort of like throwing out all these stuff about how they don't want him, and the Spurs fans are like tearing each other limb from limb if we don't get him. It's like two opposite worlds. It's great.
They were complaining about signing Harry Kane. Like, Harry Kane, is he good enough for Bayern Munich? Are you fucking kidding me? I mean, they have no idea.
What a world! What a world they live in as Bayern
They're
fans.
A combination of Chelsea and Liverpool fans, all mixed together. The worst parts of both mixed together, and they're just so entitled.
That's actually fair. They think they've invented football, but then they also think they're the biggest club of the world at the same time. That's very true. In sort of, though, the center back department, I did sort of say to Dave that I'd be pretty amazed if Spurs didn't sign anybody by the 10th. It is Tuesday, January 9th. It is Tuesday, January 10th, or Wednesday, January 10th for you.
Yeah.
What do you make of that then? Like, you know, the fact that my prediction, I mean, I guess it looks like we're right. We're about to get it right on time, but might be a little crazy that we still haven't signed one yet, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
given
on
deadline
one hand,
I set a while ago.
Oh, this sort of fantasy land that Spurs fans have invented, where they're like, oh, we need to get a centre back in before the Manchester United game so that he can start for that game. It's like, well, who decided that? That's just Twitter talking. Like, the club doesn't work like that. We've been playing with two fullbacks at centre back for the last number of weeks. Yeah, it's just. I mean, I agree. We do need one, but I mean, that's not the way it works. So I don't. Yeah, I don't know whether that's even worthwhile.
Yeah, not like Ange said that, or needed that. Very good point. Do you feel like Timo Werner, maybe onto him then? Like, is this a signing that I put it three ways and I'm getting neutral every single time? Everybody doesn't feel that skeptical about it, but they don't feel that confident about it. Timo Werner, how do you feel about
it? He had a tough job going in at Chelsea, and a lot of expectation, as you do with that kind of club. I think that the fact that we're sort of very neutral on it takes a lot of pressure off him. I think that he's a very fast player. The only thing that worries me is that if he were of the quality that people expected when he went to Chelsea, he would be starting more at Leipzig, and he just hasn't been. And people say, oh, we got a really good deal here in terms of the option to buy if we choose to exercise it. No, I think that that's about right now where he is. I think that he's fallen down a little bit, and I'm not saying that to be mean to him. I think it's just the reality of it. And if he comes right, it could be the steal of the century, really. But even if he doesn't, I think he's still a reasonable step up on guys like Brian Hill and maybe even Manos Solomon and guys who we need in our attack. Obviously, we lost Perisic early in the season as well, who by all accounts looked like we were going to play him as an attacker as opposed to, a fullback or wingback sort of situation. So this is something we need. We need another attacker, and having some pace and someone who's at least familiar with the Premier League is a good option. Having the option to buy is a good option as well, because if it does all work and he's brilliant, then great, we get a good deal out of it. And at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, then it's 6 months of, just having someone who's on the bench, who's a useful option to bring on, especially during this time where we're without Sonny. So I think
This is a bit of a
good
throwback
business.
to last season. And I'm not sure if this is a compliment to Timo Werner or maybe doing him a disservice. Do you remember the Joao Felix Chelsea loan, like for 6
Oh
months?
my-
Maybe it'd be something like that, or like he kind of wasn't all that bad for Chelsea, but he wasn't terrific either. Like I felt like he did some things and some big games for
Yeah.
them, popped up with the odd goal or the odd assist. But then in
Well, there's a lot
others,
of
yeah,
quality
sort of
there, yeah.
disappeared. Maybe it'd be something like that.
Well, it's hard to compare because I think they paid the absolute earth for that short loan,
Right,
as well. Whereas it doesn't appear as though we're doing that. But
I forgot about that.
yeah, but it's but in terms of just bringing the player in to have some quality around that you can bring on or start games if he's in good form, then yeah, absolutely the same sort of thing. I don't know. I think you're right. I think that was, even though a lot
Like
of
a
people
household
sort of,
name, or that's what's funny about it. It's like we're bringing in
Sure.
a guy that's
Yeah.
like sort of like everybody knows who Timo Werner is. Like you don't need to do like who is Timo Werner, like sort of thing. Like it's not realistic, or it's not a possibility to even make that sort of video. And I don't know, like it seems like it could be a sort of signing for Spurs where you're bringing in a guy with experience, somebody who I did bring up earlier, like cast your mind back, I know we all live in the here and now, but cast your mind back 3 or 4 years ago, Timo Werner really was probably one of the top strikers in Europe when it came to his output. He was scoring goals for fun under multiple
incredible.
managers and different teams as well, with different players around him. Moved to Chelsea, didn't work out for him. And like you said, his career has taken a bit of a setback since then. So I ask you then, Ripsy, he had that sort of early bloom in his career. Can he bloom again, basically? Or was that it for him?
No, well, I mean, can he? Of course he can. I think that the reason why he chose us over the other interested party is because when you compare, if you're in a slump of form and maybe your issue is, there's not an issue of skill or talent, there's an issue of confidence, then I think having a manager that's going to really protect you in the way that Ange does, I think is a sensible move for him. I think it shows a lot of maturity. If he truly was the one to make the decision between going to United and coming to us, it shows a lot of maturity that he picked us, because I think that that you go to Manchester United and you get thrown in the shark tank. They're not performing well. They're grumpy. The manager's not. There's really not hitting the straps. They got players like Sancho there, who's not playing at all, and is really unhappy with the whole situation. So even though obviously it'd be, as a football player, it might be exciting to sort of have Manchester United on your sort of, your historical teams that you've played for, which of course it would be to have Tottenham on there as well. But a lot of these people of his age, they grew up, when they were a kid, Manchester United was, an incredibly high performing team, Arsenal, the other one, obviously, as well. So to make that sensible decision to go to a manager that's going to protect him a bit more, he's probably going to get more football. We're going to have lower expectations for him. The only downside being that we fucking hate Chelsea. The fact that he actually missed a whole bunch of sitters for Chelsea kind of alleviates
Makes us
that
love him
problem for me.
almost, to
Yeah,
a
it's like,
degree.
yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, it was really good watching you miss when you were at Chelsea, but hopefully you do less of that for us. But I think it's a good move. I think that it's a sensible bit of business, and I think that, as you say, he's despite maybe not being a high performing player over the last few seasons, he's a household name to football fans. Absolutely, I think that you're bringing in someone that people want to see, and they want to see the success story, or they want to, see the opposite sometimes as well, as far as English football media goes. But we'll see.
Maybe another sort of game that maybe people would like to see other Spurs, succeed in or fail miserably is FA Cup, Man City. I mean, how do you feel about that draw when it happened? Were you grimacing or were you kind of chuckling? I chuckled because I sort of felt like Man City fans were going to have the exact same reaction that we were having, which is like, ugh, don't really want to be playing them.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess that, look, if we want to win the cup, right, I'd rather play Man City at home in the 4th round than in the final at Wembley. I can put it that way, because we lose that game, but we we potentially win this one.
Better chance of winning this one. Yeah,
I think so. I think it's a fair point to say that. Is it going to be easy? No, but I mean, look at the schedule for the rest of January, right? We play away at Old Trafford, and then we've got that 4th round FA Cup match, and then it's February, right? Oh no, well, I think it's the last day of January we play again. But I mean, there's not a whole lot of football until the end of January, so we should get some players back, hopefully, for that City game. I think we'll at least have Van de Ven back. We may even have him back for this coming match against Manchester United. But we may even have more back. We may have Manor Solomon back. We may even have Maddison back. But that's a long shot at this point. I don't think he's even training yet, but we'll see.
And you did mention the other Manchester team. How do you feel? I've gotten out of Daniel, which I loved, and now I've gotten it out of Tyler, and Weir Sly seemed to say the same thing. Sort of expecting 3 points against Man United. Like I said, what a world we now live in compared to when I was a Spurs fan 10 years ago. And I had legitimately said multiple times that I think it was like the 2013-2014 season or 2012-2013. And someone had asked, like, oh, what was the highlight of, your season for Spurs? And I was like, beating Man United just once was like, just the highlight of my season.
Yeah.
Now to say that we can do the double over them is crazy.
Yeah. Look, it's within our power. There's no real reason why we can't do it. I think that it would be, I think that we would be reasonable to consider a win or a draw is the result. I think us losing would be unexpected, which is, seems crazy to say because honestly, it's no great shame to go to Manchester and lose at Old Trafford. I mean, it happens. It's something that even great teams do. So that, and if that happens, it won't be the end of the world. We'll bounce back and we'll keep playing. But it would be lovely to get 3 points there again against what is supposed to be a top 6 side. So yeah, I'd love to. I think that it's probably going to be a draw, but it could very well be a win.
I am weirdly expecting 3 points, and it sounds crazy to say that going into Old Trafford. It really does, and I hope
awesome.
that we get to feast on the drama in the way that I will be very, very soon feasting on the drama of Chelsea over TalkSport and all that good stuff. I'm looking forward to. Actually, I know people. I don't know whatever people care about Rory Jennings. These are the games when I do watch Rory Jennings videos. Whenever it's these sort of defeats, it's just fun to watch and feast on the bones of other teams while we can.
Just listen to his high-pitched whining into his microphone for a few.
I love a good whine in this sort of situation. Love hearing a good whine, and I look forward to it. But Ribsy, those are all the questions that I do have. So any other maybe final topics that you have before I let you go and end off this evening?
No, not really. No, I'm sorry once again for blowing everyone's ears out before with the messed up microphone. But that's it. Hopefully we do get the 3 points come, what is it, Sunday for the game for you guys? I think it's Monday for me. But no, I think it's well within the realm of possibility. And
could we get Ten Hag sacked, or is that too soon?
Oh, we definitely could if we go there and absolutely batter them. If we get that, who was it? I think it was KPV saying we were going to do a 6-1 over them again, like couple of seasons back, but I don't think it's going to be quite that exciting. But if we did, that'd probably get him sacked. That'd probably do it.
Yeah, let's just hope that if we do find ourselves 2-0 up, 3-0 up, we just don't do what Aston Villa did, because that was absolutely crazy to witness. I had no idea that they could do that. But who I think it was Michael who had a very good take saying, like, Man United are one of these teams where anytime that they do reach that sort of moment where, like, surely he's getting sacked, after this game, and then they do scrape a win, like a 1-0 win they don't deserve or something like that. I don't really see that happening, but it is something that they pulled off on a couple of occasions, or on a few occasions already this season when he was about to be out the door. It feels like we've had this conversation multiple times with Ten Hag already. So he must have done something each time to get himself a bit more time.
It must be the players just doing the bare minimum, right? I mean, basically when it comes down to the moment when the manager's actually going to be sacked, they're like, okay, we'll put in a shift now and just sneak it over the line, and then we'll go back to cruising after that.
Perhaps they just enjoyed this Ten Hag purgatory. For maybe they just seem to enjoy it. Ole 2.0 is also what I saw in the chat, which I think was terrific.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Gave me a good chuckle. But Ribsy, thank you for your patience. Thanks for coming on, and thanks for keeping me company, and thanks for wrapping up another fan show.
Nah, good times, guys. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Alrighty. Have a good one, man. See ya.
Later.
Big up to Ribsy85, helping us out in every way he can, coming on the fan shows, been coming on pre-match build-ups a bit more recently, which I have really enjoyed. But that about does it, everybody. That is the end of the fan show. So many people came on and had their say, and I do appreciate that. It is just me, and I am alone on this show right now, but so many have come on, kept company with me, had good chats about Spurs and, anxieties over the transfers, all that stuff. So I really do appreciate you all coming on. And I hope to see you again on the next fan show. Really do enjoy these conversations. I just like sitting down and hearing different people's opinions and throwing questions at your way, and just, listening to somebody else other than myself talk sometimes. And I do hope that you enjoy that as well. Everybody, I'll leave you there. I'll finally shut up 3 hours in. And hit that like button, please, if you can, on the way out. We'll be seeing you. Come on, you Spurs. In the big Ange we trust. We never stop. See you, everybody. Have a good one. Everywhere we go!